Yeah, that is what I'm talking about. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Gogledites, Goglings, Gogorifics, Gog Peoples everywhere. Welcome to Pen and Pixels. It is episode 126 here on a Tuesday, May 15th, 2018. I hope everyone is doing well and is looking forward to some awesome D&D with GOG. The Storm King's Thunder sessions continue today on Pen and Pixels. I am your host, Arvin Elleron. I hope everyone is doing well. Just a couple of quick notes here, if I may. First of all, ways to support the channel if you haven't done so already. Please make sure to follow the channel if you haven't done so already. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel, as I just did, even though I should have already had it done, because I wish Twitch Prime would automatically renew, but it doesn't, and that's a pain in the butt. But anyway, so I managed to do that. So if you want to get some of that awesome DRM free hype and all that kind of good stuff, you should definitely do that, because those emotes brought to us, of course, by Outstar Walker. And for this, I do want to make one quick note, and let me just pull up my webcam like this. There we go. Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. I just want to say a quick note here before I go on and introduce the folks here, and that is I wanted to extend my thanks to Outstar. Outstar was the person who actually brought me on board a couple of years ago. I've been streaming now for GOG for 2.5 years, I believe, and it's been a really good time, and I appreciate everything that Outstar has been able to do for the stream team. She did a really good job for us, and I hope that she has a very great success going forward. I have no doubt she will. I fully expect that we'll be stopping by her channel and checking stuff out. I also want to add a personal note, which is that the thing I really enjoyed was having a chance to work with Outstar, as we did on several occasions, with the art. The things that we did with the short story. We did this twice, where I wrote a short story. Matt Chrono Wolf was doing the music, and Outstar was doing the art. I hope that we'll be able to do something like that again in the future, either on this channel or another one. But I really enjoyed that, and I hope that everyone was able to give her, it seems like, a good send-off. So thank you, Outstar, and best of luck in the future, and I look forward to seeing what the future holds for GOG and stuff like that. But what we are right now is going on with adventure with D&D and with the Storm King's Thunder with our fine people, the GOG stream team. I do want to make a quick note about this as well. When I bring them on board in just a minute, I am going to talk about the fact that you're going to see these folks more than once this month, so I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But before I do that, I'm going to unmute myself so that they can now hear that we're just about ready to go, and then I'm going to unmute them, and then I'm going to head over. Dun 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 dun. There we are. There is the GOG stream team in all of its glory, and I do mean glory. It is some serious glory. That we see below the column that you have below us. Welcome, everybody. And yes, so I want to make one note before I introduce each of these folks individually, and that is you will be seeing them today during our usual once-a-month session that we try to do of D&D Storm King's Thunder. But you will also, this month, see them again, and you'll actually see them over on my channel a week from Friday. And that is going to be for Dungeons & Dragons with GOG on my channel to benefit the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation. It is part of the charity convention that I run every year called ArvCon. We have raised almost $4,000 in the last 3 years for this, and this year we are going for $3,000. We have 5 corporate sponsors so far. We have got a concert planned. We have special events planned. We have the epic conclusion of my flagship campaign of D&D over there. We also have Adventures in Middle-earth there, Esper Genesis there, and these fine people. So all of the campaigns are going to be over there. So I hope that you folks will mark your calendars. As I've said, this is a personal thing to me. I lost my mother to breast cancer 9 years ago. I have lost 2 dogs to cancer. Many family members and friends have been affected by it. And I know from having spoken to many of you over the years that I am not alone. And so I hope that we will be able to take some of that sadness and anger and put it into something constructive. And the way to do that is to come together as a community. That's what we do on GOG. It's what I try to do on my channel, and it's what I'd like to do as part of this event. So mark your calendars. It will be happening again a week from Friday, and these fine people, assuming they survive the next couple of hours, will be with you. I'm sure, I don't know why that would not be, why would I say something like that? So silly to even make that claim. But no, in all seriousness. Yeah, exactly. Like insight. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good times. And so I hope you folks will be able to join up on board. Now that I've said all those serious things, let's talk about having some fun. And that, of course, is with D&D. And we're going to start with the person right below me who is not in the least tired, is not exhausted, and is totally ready to go. By that, I mean, of course, Pyron Jade. Hi, Pyron. How are you? Are you indeed exhausted and tired and or not?
Yes.
Okay, well, there you have it. Is it a good tired? Is it a, you know? Like a...
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm really happy to be here with all you lovely people, and I will try to understand all these other people talking in their strange foreign tongue. And we're gonna get it. It's fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be good. And who are you playing?
Greta Goldenfire. Good question. Thank you.
My pleasure. It's why I asked it.
Can I phone a friend?
I would like to use the Joker now.
It was really the horrified look, the kind of, who am I playing? Where am I? Stop looking at me.
I'm playing Greta Goldenfire, a dwarven cleric of Foltos. May his line shine of you. God.
May his line hit on you on the way and slap you in the face by accident. And
I'm so sorry. It was just a really long day. Yes. I sometimes set things on fire.
once in a while, but usually only when things deserve it. I'm sure. But yes, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Greta does as things are, the intrigue is beginning to build here within this campaign. So I'm looking to seeing how all of that goes. Welcome. Wonderful to have Pyron with us as always. What? What?
No, we're going to intrigue. I think we're gonna recap a little bit where we are, right?
Sure. You know, all of the secret information. They've given you the passwords. Remember, I gave you the 50 passwords to remember. So that's, you know, yeah. They'll be all good.
We're taking care of that.
I'll be right back, people.
I just great. We had during the Lone Wolf session that I was just doing. There's this thing where you're trying to figure out if a guy is who he really says he is. So it's like, ask him a question about this tavern, and we ask the question. Then Chad and I are like, and he says, "Well, it's obviously the Rusty Anchor," and we're like, maybe, like, we had no idea what the hell the actual name of the tavern is. We're like, yeah, when you say anchor, what kind of an anchor do you mean? Stall. Like, we had no idea. Like, whatever. Sure, password. Maybe I didn't say all of them exactly right. Anyway, it's a pleasure to have Pyron with us, as always. Moving right on down the line, we have, of course, our good friend who has not spent every second of the last few 24 hours playing Civilization 5, and that is Darksaber. What's up, Darksaber? How you doing, man? Is that true that you've been buried in Civ? Is that...
Pretty much all day today, yeah. You know when you get on a roll on those games, they just eat your day.
Yes. Did you was it worth it, though? Did that focus lead to us? Did you defeat Gandhi? Let's talk about the real Civ question.
He's actually not in this game. The real buggers in this game are Japan at the moment.
Really?
Yeah.
Run by Gandhi, though.
Yeah, it's probably just like, I'll beat Japan. It's like, but who was it? Old man Gandhi.
He like rips off him. It's like Gandhi. I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you, damn. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I am looking forward to seeing what comes from your character, Saber. Who are you playing today?
Selsig Mauer, amoral support and financial expert.
Yes, exactly. And
Also
a
a
ranger,
ranger.
possibly. And also, wasn't it also he determined maybe a bard too? Wasn't that the other thing, was maybe a bard?
I'm feeling there's some gravitation towards that. Yeah, I've definitely become fascinated with a bard we may or may not be bringing along for the ride.
No.
Yeah, possibly. Your boy, Diego Maradona. We'll talk more about him in a little bit.
Boy, Diego.
Moving right along. Pleasure to have Saber with us, as always. Moving right along down the line, we have... Oh, and also thanks to Saber for helping with Moobot and Dashboard today. Want to make sure I got that out. Moving right along down the line, we have the man himself, and that, of course, is... Thank you for the follow, Drew Pease. You were also the man, but that wasn't... Actually, I don't know if you're a man or not, but
I'm not. Thank you.
That's you're not Drew Pease. But the person who is right below Saber in the window is, of course, Screaming Joypad. Mike, what's up? How are you, sir? How is life in the universe for you, etc.?
I wish I was as cool as Drew Pease, who just followed.
Yes.
I genuinely wish I was Drew Pease. Anyway, yeah.
We all do. We're all Drew Pease, really.
I'm doing okay. Things are happening in my world at the moment. We are moving house soon, so all of this background will move at some point soon. That may interrupt the regularly scheduled programming after the end of this month, but I will keep everybody informed. Other than that, I am playing Ura-Ash, the Half-Orc Barbarian. Yes, Half-Orc Barbarian. I nearly slipped into the TikTok character voice there. Who recently got some unsettling news about an axe that he is carrying around. Which he hasn't shared with the team yet. So
yes, That is info that is yet to come out during their visit to the House of Knowledge. And I want to point out, by the way, that you're going to get a chance to see Mike's smiling face quite a bit, because next weekend you will see him as part of exactly, or that, depending on how things go. You will get to see him in D&D with GOG on Friday, and then you will also see him as part of the epic finale of the Rise of Tiamat campaign on Sunday. And in case you guys have missed that, I'll just say that TikTok is a Warforged who is also sentient and has the spirit of a Red Wizard of Thay inside him, as it turns out, and is the commander of an airship. And if you don't think that doesn't get you to tune in, I don't know what you're missing, because I'd be like, sign me up. I'm sorry The Expanse got canceled. This is better, okay? I'm just telling you right now. It's badass. No, but you're going to see Mike quite a bit. Always a pleasure to have Mike here, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Urash handles this news that he's just learned. We shall see. And then last but certainly not least, flanked by multiple stuffed animals, if I'm looking at that correctly. Is your camera in a different place, or am I just crazy? It is?
Yeah, I moved it. So I used to be like kitty corner, so I was looking back into a corner, and now I'm flat up against a wall to get more space.
I like it. It's kind of like your stuffed animal troops. Just leap forward, like you just snap and then wha-bam. That is, of course, Tasty Chai. Always a pleasure to have Chai with us. Chai, who has not actually streamed 72 out of 48 hours somehow over the last few days. Like, I was streaming on Saturday, and I get done, and I was like, I had seen that morning or something she's streaming. I'm like, okay. And then like that night, I get done streaming at like 12:30 in the morning. 1 in the morning, it's like, still streaming. I'm like, the hell? So you've been like, you were like a streaming machine, Chai. Like you were. You're not joking.
I've been going crazy because I'm trying to get partnered, and the numbers have been really good. So I'm like, I'll just stream until I die.
Jesus.
I streamed 17 hours. I took a 5-hour nap, and then I did another 8-hour stream. And last night I did a 9-hour stream, and then today I'm just gonna go until I die again. So that tonight might be another 17-hour. We'll see.
Good God, I'm glad that we're getting you at the beginning before the exhaustion sets in entirely. Though, I have this image of you slumping into your stuffed animals at some point. And
I don't slump. Apparently, I get ridiculously silly. So it just like becomes completely incoherent and strange. That's what happens.
I see. That's almost would be interesting to go see. Well, you should definitely watch Chai. She's, of course, a fine streamer, and I enjoyed watching some of the Pillars of Eternity stuff before I went to bed after my not nearly as exhausting 5-hour stream or whatever it was. But anyway, Chai, who are you playing today?
Today I am playing a River, who is a silver dragonborn who has an affinity for food, you could say, and who is part of the, what are they called? The Harpers. And whose party thinks that they are completely incompetent. And I am not helping with that.
It has been an interesting sort of ambassadorship to the Harpers that we've had from them thus far, but I'm looking forward to seeing how that handles. More so, it'll be good times. Yay, with the sub with Mortara, 12 months in a row. Congratulations, almost a year, said the meme. Thank you so much, Mortara, for the sub. And by the way, I should note, because I noticed someone asking about this up front, the Esper Genesis thing is a sponsored stream by Alligator Alley Entertainment. This is a new 5th edition rules based space opera, which is amazing. The guys who've done it amazing, and my channel is the official channel for their Twitch streams, actually. So we started that.
It's so good.
It's so cool, isn't it? It's really a lot of fun to watch. Like it's been fun to sort of see the players going through it, and there's a lot of good players there as well. A lot of really good role players. I'm lucky with that. Plus Kat Rambo, who's a very fine fantasy author. So it's been cool. Anyway, that's what that is. But enough of that, because I can see more and more dice are pouring onto the screen. So if I don't get started, the whole thing is going to be moving. So let's get some music and let us summarize where we are, folks, and we can catch things up. I should say, by the way, that what I'm about to tell you is an incredibly compressed version of an infinitely more complex story. And if you want to see more of that, you should go over to my YouTube channel and check out, if you go over to my YouTube, which is linked under my host info here, you'll be able to see under a playlist for D&D with GOG what has happened to these fine people. But the short version is that in Storm King's Thunder, these folks have been engaged in essentially a little bit of a mystery. They've been trying to discover what has caused caused many of the giants across the Sword Coast and Faerun to essentially lose their minds, attacking villages for no reason, being much more prominent and aggressive than they normally would be. Whether it's attacks on Nightstone, the village that originally the party arrived at, whether it's flying around in flying castles, going to breakfast nooks, whether it's going to the town of Bryn Shander and trying to attack Bryn Shander. There's been multiple explanations, but there seem to be issues with why the giants have broken down in terms of discipline and order and are just sort of going crazy. But one of the things the party has been able to determine is that part of this is related to the breakdown of essentially a system of order, a hierarchy, if you will, called the Ordning. The Ordning has been broken. The party doesn't know why, what happened to it, what led to it. The only clue that the party has is that the king of all of the giants, a storm giant called Hecaton, went missing some time ago, and basically since he went missing, everything screwed up. You guys know that song, Since You've Been Gone, I Can't. That's basically what this is, except instead of I Can Breathe, it's I Can Break Down and Attack the Sword Coast. That was the alternate version of that song. Anyway, the party has, through a variety of ways, tried to find out this information, and one of the leads that they got was that the giants attacking Bryn Shander wanted something called the Ring of Winter, which was apparently owned by a man named Artis Cimber. Well, the party went looking for Artis Cimber with their only lead that Artis Cimber had gone, according to his son, to the city of Neverwinter to meet with a man who was having a big fancy dress ball only a few weeks from that time. The party started heading down that way, but something funny happened on the way to the castle, as they say, because the party ended up, after a bunch of attacks and things and other stuff that I can't get into right now, but they ended up actually discovering a hill giant who was sobbing over the loss of her husband. That husband had been taken away by the hill giant chief. Why does this matter? It matters because that hill giant was on top of a set of teleportation circles, and that matters because the person who was supposed to be finding these teleportation circles and working for the, in quotes, secret organization of the Harpers was none other than the dragonborn wild mage sorcerer known as River. When the party discovered River, they instinctively liked her, found her to be a very powerful potential sorcerer, and they were not alone because a lot of the people around them, including Kalismana, the dragon harper contact, told them that he had a lot of faith in her ultimate power, and so the party liked the sound of likable plus ultimate power, and so took her with them as they teleported using these teleportation circles into the city of Neverwinter. Once they got into Neverwinter, they began to explore. They met with their friend, good dear friend, Diego Maradona, the bard with the silver tongue and the interest in silver coins. He caused them some issues, but he did manage. He's sort of been weaving in and out of their time that they spent in Neverwinter. But they were able to track down a thing called the House of Knowledge. The House of Knowledge, which is essentially a massive repository of information about the Sword Coast. While there, they were able to gather some information. Orash about this axe, which he has not yet told the rest of the party about, and Greta about the Ring of Winter, discovering things about its evil, the fact that it allows someone to not age when they have it, that it causes people to become particularly aggressive at certain times. The Ring of Winter also provides certain immunities and things like that, but it is a powerful artifact, and it is a ring which has not generally stayed in one person's possession for too long. If this is reminding you of another ring that was really significant and important that never stayed in people's possession for longer and was super evil, shut up, that has nothing to do with that. Anyway, it had nothing to do with the guy whose name rhymes with Bolkian. Anyway, so the party, having discovered this information, left the House of Knowledge ready to decide what they wanted to do next. And as they were leaving, having looked for what they thought was Diego Maradona, who came into the House of Knowledge to find them, but then vanished again, they left. They didn't see where Diego Maradona had left. But as the party left to go back into the crowd, Diego Maradona, in a little mini cutscene, came out afterwards, winked at someone in the crowd, and then disappeared. And so as we now turn things back back over to the party. They are in Neverwinter, and now they have to decide where they want to go. They have some leads outside of the city. There's still about maybe 4 to 5 days, possibly, from this fancy dress ball at Waterdeep. They obviously have the teleportation circles that they can try to find more of, which is one of the things the Harpers asked them to do. So they have many options that are available to them. And so with that, sorry that it took as long as it did, folks, but I had a lot to summarize. I now hand it back over to the party. What do you folks want to do?
Well,
Where
I
are
could
we?
do Drink. That's all I'm saying.
Outside of
The House of
library.
Knowledge.
The
Yeah.
House of Knowledge.
Yeah, there was this problem with the crowd. People said things.
Well, we're milling through the crowd at the moment, aren't we?
Right. Yeah, the crowd does not have the same, you don't have the same issue with the, when you first entered the city, there was a problem of getting through them. Now there's just a lot of people, but they're not specifically looking at you.
Okay.
I didn't know where we were going after the House of Knowledge.
We had a plan. We wanted to
Did
go
we?
somewhere.
Can you imagine if this was real time? We just like leave the library and we're like, what were we doing?
Where are we going?
Why have we been here for 4 weeks?
Yeah, why have we stood in the same spot outside this library for 4 weeks?
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I can say, and then you folks can decide how you want to go. But one thing I can say is that I believe you had said that you were mostly done with the stuff you wanted to do in Neverwinter now. That you were thinking about heading outside to either continue trying to find some things with the teleportation circles, and/or again keeping your eye on the clock because Waterdeep is only that fancy dress ball is about 4 days away, and that's your next in quotes lead. In terms of finding this Ring of Winter. Although, Greta, you have not actually told the party yet what you discovered about the ring, so you could also tell them some
told
of
them
that.
that I found, but I told them that there was Diego Maradona inside the library.
Yes, you did tell them that.
I told them that, and that guy's just totally suspicious.
That
So
guy-
we're still in the wrong town. I remember I wanted to go to Waterdeep. We're still in Neverwinter, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I don't think we have anything else to do in Neverwinter. I found my notes now, people. It's okay. I found my notes.
You could relax.
I found the mission guide. It's okay. I don't think we have anything else to do in Neverwinter.
Yeah, I
So-
think my agenda had boiled down to I'm going to sit outside and watch for anyone keep looking out for us.
Yeah.
I mean, we're probably going to trip over a side quest, but at the minute the map is clear.
So,
Has some sort of punctuation over his head.
There's no exclamation points now, and then you realize you didn't open the map up enough. It's like The Witcher, where it's just like a sea of exclamation points. Oh man!
Okay,
Actually,
was
this
you
is a
doing
little like that. I have to say that Storm King's Thunder is a little bit. There's a lot of things to do in Storm King's Thunder. So
There's a lot of stuff to keep
So-
track of.
yeah.
I turned to the group. So, do we want to stay another night in our very special room here in Neverwinter, or shall we move on to Waterdeep using the teleportation network?
Special room in the
Special room.
attic.
Well, don't we want to make sure that we find Mr. Bardman? Because if we try to use our teleport circles, what if he follows us?
Can't. He doesn't have the key.
Does he need the key?
As far as we know now, he's just a creepy bard. Like he's just like he's followed.
It's not like
he-
there's any of the sort.
Yeah.
But I
you're
wanted
you're not a
to
creepy
eat him
bard.
so he
You're a
doesn't
creepy
bother
ranger.
us anymore.
We'll find you a fresher bard. Don't worry. One
Oh,
that
okay.
doesn't look quite so chewy.
But
I'm just saying, if he's coming with us, we don't keep bumping into him. Logic.
no.
Mate,
And I bet he tastes good with
he's
ketchup.
up to something. He's definitely up to something,
Yeah.
and it's
I'm
not good.
Yeah. So maybe we should leave town right away and go to Waterdeep.
I'm with you on that one.
Okay.
I like that. Going to what?
Yeah, well, we have
We've
still
got
got
up in town before the ball, haven't we?
So I think we should just move to a town, get a lot of free food as long as we can, grab our stuff, and then move on to Waterdeep.
Okay,
Yep.
that sounds good to me. Whilst I hastily make scribbled notes.
Okay. Okay. So, and I'm actually, I was just in no way was I just now pulling out a map of Waterdeep that I realized would be easier than my old one. Okay. So, okay. So you folks are gonna try to head out of Neverwinter Nights now. Neverwinter Nights. Neverwinter. Freudian slip. Neverwinter City.
Yeah.
So, heading out of
How
the
long
city
we
of
stay
Neverwinter.
here in Neverwinter night.
Exactly. So we're exactly. I see what you did there. So you folks are going to take the teleportation circle out. Now, right now, it is about, I want to say early afternoon. So we're talking about like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So you could certainly leave now if you wish. If you're doing that, are you grabbing anything first, like anything else you need to get? I mean, Waterdeep is also a huge city, so it's not like, you know, you better get something now or you'll never, like, hit up the chain restaurants because you'll never find one again. Like, there's plenty of food to be had and things.
This is the last honest Bob's armorer before you hit Neverwinter.
Yeah, exactly. It's the last chance saloon, basically.
Well, didn't
I
we
used
get pretty
I
close?
used something up. I used something up. What was it?
I don't know.
I'm
I
going to
think-
blank out the map for just a second, chat, while I'm uploading something for these fine people. Continue. You guys can talk.
I did think though that we needed a fancy dress for the ball, and since we have discounts because we did such a service to the city, perhaps we should utilize that.
That's a good point, actually, because we'll have been talking about this in front of River, won't we?
I need to fill up my medication pouch thing.
Oh,
Okay, so you need bits and pieces for that.
I'm pretty sure they might have something pre-packed somewhere.
I don't think I actually carry anything that I consume. I've also completely forgotten how to. Oh God, it's like I've never used Roll20. I swear I've used Roll20 before. Open the damn character sheet. There we go. How much have we got? So I've spent loads of money on getting stuff identified, didn't I? So what does a potion of healing go for around here, Mr. Voice in the Sky?
We do have the potion of extra healing still.
Barbarian.
Yeah, and you specifically.
And me, clumsy, slightly suicidal barbarian. So do we each have a potion of extra healing?
I believe that is correct.
Okay, so I already have a normal potion of healing in my bag, so I'll add the potion of extra healing as well.
I don't have my normal potion of healing anymore because I used it on a barbarian.
Hello.
I wonder
Okay,
who
so
she's
what we're
referring
learning, what we're learning from this is everyone needs to carry at least a spare barbarian potion of healing.
to. Yeah, that's always an important thing to keep in mind.
In case of barbarian smash class.
Please excuse the tappy noise. I can't mute my microphone. There we go. Extra
okay.
healing.
All right.
So I have no normal one. I have no armor to get fixed or anything like that. I got some rope. I got some water. I'll top up on things like rations and things like that. I know that's not really the sort of thing we're too concerned with, but I want to make sure I've got enough field rations for any journeys after Waterdeep. Obviously, Waterdeep is another massive city, like you said. We're not exactly going to need to, go too long without actual food, but just to make sure. How much are potions of healing? Like, if I were to just go into a shop and say, I need those bottles that make me feel better. Not booze.
Maybe you should let me do the talking. Got a bowl of porridge for 100 gold.
And we're talking a regular potion of healing?
Well, what have they got? I have 100 gold pieces burning a hole in my pocket.
Generally, a regular healing potion would cost you about 50 gold, roughly speaking.
Okay, I need to charge more.
There.
Now, remember that a
Healer's
regular
kit.
healing potion is
Or
2d4 plus 2. So
2d4 plus 2.
That's right.
Okay, that's not too bad.
no. Because these things are not, magic potions being what they are somewhat
magic,
in demand,
yeah.
and, So,
Okay.
yes.
I will purchase another potion then and take 50 gold off of myself. If that's okay.
Okay.
Cool.
That is fine. All right. And
I need to replenish my healer's kit.
Okay. The healer's kit, I think, should be easier. Okay. Now I think I have what I need. Chat, I know you still don't have a map. Just give me a second. I'm just about done. Okay, there we go. Now we've got the map back. Sorry about that. I had to make sure that I got the map ready for these folks. And there we are.
Stuff to do
Why
in
not
Waterdeep.
see you people here? Oh, because they're good, lovely, wonderful. Yes. So healer's kit.
Yes.
That I think should be able to get the cost for that quickly. Let me just make sure. All right. Yeah. So a healer's kit is pretty cheap, actually. You could get that for about 5 gold.
Okay. I'm pretty sure we're gonna need it, so I'm gonna buy it. So do I get like the like I have the rest of the other one because I still have some users left, and then I have another 10 users now.
Yes, that's right. And how many
Okay.
uses did you have in your old one? Do you remember?
I still have 3 users left.
Okay, I wanted to make sure. Okay. Also, while we're on the subject of looking into these things, I just want to double check. Greta, you are at... Are you still at 30 out of 33, or did you get a long rest yet?
We had a long rest. We slept in the.
I thought you did. So you're at 33 out of 33, right?
Yes.
Okay, and Celsig, you're at 33 out of 33?
Yeah.
All right, and Urash, you're 57 out of 57?
I am now.
All right, and I am now. And River, you're 27 out of 27? Is that right?
River.
Yes.
Who's looking?
Yes.
Yeah, I said, do you have 27 out of 27 hit
Yes.
points? Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure. Okay. Alrighty. So, you folks are able to go and do that and purchase the stuff that you need. You need a Kilgore for the mapping. I know, it's true. All right. As you guys are doing this, I want to mention, so Greta is getting her healing kit taken care of. Urash is getting another healing potion. River and Celsig, do either of you have any supplies that you want to get while here?
Apart from maybe some rations, I'm just trying to check how many I've got. I've got them marked down somewhere. God, I've acquired a lot of stuff.
Yeah, how do you have so much stuff when we're supposed to have everything equal?
You seem to have a lot of money for how much stuff you have.
It's easy to save money.
It
you
seems
know.
not equivalent somehow. Somehow out of sync.
Do you have a lot of really shiny equipment and a suit made of money, and also lots of money?
I had lots of money, then I had to reattach my finger.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
There was something.
And wasn't that awkward?
Yeah, that was a very very strange thing.
Yeah.
Had some rations, but
So much intolerance there.
Yeah.
So much intolerance, yes.
The only thing that I think I need is fancy dress for the ball, but otherwise I don't think.
it's
Oh
like
yeah,
a
we
week's
don't
worth
have
of rations.
we don't have a fancy dress for her yet.
That's right. Now, the question is, do you want it? Because
Oh.
presumably you could get something like this also in Waterdeep. So the question is...
But here we have discounts for the fair.
That's true.
Yeah, we have, and if there's a big ball in Waterdeep, it might be more difficult to find a suing person.
True. Acquire without asking sounds less illegal. That's true goods. Yes, Echo. I did give them a city map before, but for this, I don't think they're actually going to need that because there's so many different stores that would actually fit this description. But the reason I was asking this was because I wanted to know about a couple of the specific stores. So, okay, so let's take this one by one. Celsig, I'm going to be talking to you about the stuff that you're getting with rations in just a minute. Urash, you're good for now
Yep.
with the stuff that you have. So, are you going River by yourself to get this fancy dress, or Greta, are you going to, you or any of the four going to assist? Like what?
I need a supervision.
I'm coming with her, certainly.
Okay, so let me...
Come on, let's do some girls shopping.
Okay, so we're gonna go with that in just a
River's just
second.
like, what?
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna return.
What's
Yes,
the
I'm gonna return
shopping?
with Greta and River in just a minute. Urash, what are you gonna do? Are you going with Celsig, or are you sticking by yourself? What are you?
No,
doing?
I'm sticking by myself. I think we're all going in separate directions, to be honest. If Celsig is going in the direction that I'm going in to get
Oh, are
either
we
potions
splitting
or
up?
rations.
Is that what?
Well, I figured it would be a case of we'd all go do what we all had an hour to go do our shop.
Everyone meet back here at
Everyone remembered where we parked. Yeah.
All right.
We'll meet back at the cart.
Okay, so you folks are gonna go and do that. Urash, so you're heading off to do the potions and so forth. Celsig, I'm gonna come back to Greta and River in a minute. Celsig, I wanna deal with your thing. So, Celsig, when you go, the question I have for you is, so you can go to the place and get the regular discounts, which was referred to before. As River said, you're gonna get a benefit of the discount. However, there's a discount, and then there's, a discount. And so the question is, are you going to the places where the discounts happen, or are you going to go to the places where people get small d discounts? If you see what I'm getting at.
Definitely the discount kind of discount.
I assumed. I want to take you to the back alleys of Neverwinter, where, as you are in the process of going, the camera follows you, if you will, with unerring precision. Right, you take a left, you take a right, you go up this alleyway, down this other one, climb up here, jump into what looks like a dumpster, but it's actually a secret passage. You know, the whole 9 yards. And when you come out on the other side, you find yourself in a rather small and secluded back alley area in which there is a velvet curtain, a dark velvet curtain. You've been led here through a variety of questions and things like asking people the right questions at the right times. And as you are waiting outside, you've been told that this here is the place to get the sort of discounts that you're going to be looking for. So it is inside this velvet curtain. So the question is, how do you want to go in there?
So I've just got to laugh at, like, you just said 4.5 finger discount.
4.5 finger, 4.5 finger discount. That's nice, like. I dig it.
So yeah, I guess I'll have a look at the area. I mean, I'm no stranger to places like this. The off the beaten track, where items tend to get looked after for a fee in case the original owner comes looking for them.
Precisely. This place is so it has this velvet curtain, and by the way, it's behind several piles of rather pungent garbage. Barrels are stacked up on the other side. This is not a place normally anyone would have gone to of their own volition, right? And it looks as if the place that was described to you is inside, excuse me, behind this velvet curtain. If you want more specifics, I mean, if you wanted to search for stuff, you could do that, or you could just go in. I mean, you'd have to tell me. I don't want to do that.
I'm just gonna go in.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go in like I've done this a million times.
When you go in, you hear the sound of a creaking sound to your left and your right. It sounds like something being wound tight, as if of a crossbow cocking. And there is a crossbow to your left and your right, which is now held at your head. And there is a moment's silence. You're inside a rather dark room. You can't really see very much, actually. Even with your dark vision, you can't see a whole lot. Then there's a moment's silence, and then, right, who's that in? This sound does not seem to be coming from your right, your left. It's coming in front of you somewhere.
I pay no attention to the crossbows, but I also stay perfectly still.
Okay.
Celsig 9 Fingers at your service, sir.
And he says, Celsig 9 Fingers? 9 loonies, you mean? And he you hear this voice coming closer to you out of the darkness. Still can't see anything. And he says, well, Celsig 9 Delusions, the question is what you're doing here. You didn't come here normally, like, so you got some special reason. I want to know what it is. And now, emerging from the darkness, you can see that the reason you couldn't see anything is because the person was covered in a very dark and thick cloak. And the person in question is shorter than you, despite the depth of the voice. And you're looking down at, as you look down, up, looking from a face within a cloak, who then throws his hood back, is a white-haired gnome, is what it looks like. Has a wispy beard, white wispy hair, has several warts, and also it looks like scars and cuts. This looks like a face that's had the hell beat out of it over a lifetime, basically. And he says, right, what's your name then? Celsig 9 Fingers, is it? He says, what are you doing in my shop?
I came here to shop, good sir. I was led to believe this is the sort of place that likes to purchase disregarded trinkets.
And he says, if you mean we sell stuff we stole, yeah, that's what it means. And he says, all right, arg, snitch. It sounds like he said arg and snitch. Move back to the door. And as you sort of, I don't know, do you want to take a look at them or not? Because they pull back, basically, these crossbows.
Again, no sudden movements, but I will just turn my head to look at them as they move away.
These look like two extremely large orcs. that are staring down at you. They actually look very similar to each other, and they seem to have not very pleasant smiles, although it's a little hard to tell. Might have a tooth, like, leading over the top lip or something. And they kind of position themselves back to the side of the door. And the gnome looks at you, and then, and he turns around, kind of shaking his head. That's the problem these days. Now you can't scare anyone. Everyone's always been through everything. Oh, I've been through fights, I have. I've battled dragons, I have. I've fought ogres, I have. Means you can't do any honest business these days. And he kind of pulls himself, he goes behind a desk, which is like twice his height. And there's a moment of silence, and then sort of a muffled, and the other thing I don't understand. And then you see, like, he's actually emerging, like, up a step stool, like, up on top of the desk. He says, is why people get sent to me before I've had a chance to check them out. These people don't know what a background check is. I don't know who the hell you are. You could be one of those damned harpers for all I know. And he looks down, he goes, are yous?
The what now?
A harper.
I don't
Is
know.
that a church person?
He says, it's a group that does, never mind what it is. He says, you might be a harper, or then you might just be really dumb. Either way, you're in my shop. All right, you're here. What are you looking for?
Well, I'm looking to get supplied for a journey I'm going on, and maybe have a look at what special items might be on offer.
He says, it depends on what you mean by special. You're looking for things to make things easier to acquire? You're looking for something a little more stabby? Kind of chuckles to himself as if he's made a very funny joke. Perhaps you're looking for a kind of a musical interlude to play for your enemies. Or if you're looking of some of the substances to make your enemies permanently go to sleep, if you know what I mean. I could provide any of those things.
I'm interested in the musical interlude and anything that might make things easier to acquire.
He says, all right then. And he kind of rummages from below the desk. He's like, I just got these things in. And he pulls out what looks like a pair of fine black gloves that he lays on the desk, on the counter. And then from the other side, like pulling out from the right side, he pulls out what looks like a small, like a lute, and lays it on the counter. He says, right, this is what you need.
Okay. So do these items have a story behind them, or?
He says, yeah, this one right here. And he puts in the, he kind of, holds up the gloves. He says, this one right here was specially donated to the cause by someone who wasn't going to be using it. We call it sort of a inadvertent will, if you know what I mean. We were the beneficiaries of it. And he sort of chuckles and then says, frankly, I don't think the old lady even knew what she had, but by the time all was said and done, well, she didn't know much of anything. Nonetheless, these here are your common gloves of thievery. And he kind of glances at you and he raises an eyebrow and he says, with this, you can get yourself a big boost, my friend. If you want to pickpocket, this helps you pickpocket even faster and quieter. If you want to pick locks, you'll be more skilled at it than you thought possible. If you want to be able to, say, find yourself a trap before it blows you up, this is what you're looking for. Quality items here. And it's yours for a very reasonable cost.
And the cost would be?
5,000 gold and it's yours. Free and clear, no shipping and handling required.
And the loot?
So he sort of blinks, like he's kind of like, oh, well, and so he's looking at the loot, and then he says, "This right here, makes things a lot easier if you're of the bard persuasion. It can help if you're interested in enhancing your magical abilities. See, this I took off of a certain musician. Always talking he was, always speaking about how good he was, how gifted, how everyone around him ought to appreciate his true talent and genius. The only talent and genius he had was getting himself slapped around because of his stupidity. Anyway, this loot here was supposed to help those who were in the bard classes, you know, the ones who actually study it official-like. Not this fool. What the hell was his name? Barafana or something like that. Anyway, it was his."
And what would be the price of this fine musical instrument?
Well, you see, we had a hard time figuring out what to charge for this one, because we don't much deal here in, what would you call musical instrument qualities. But I think given what it's supposed to be able to do, I could let this go for, say, 3,000 gold. I like your looks. Normally, I'd charge more, but I think this is reasonable.
Puts me in a bit of a bind. See, I am, as I said, gearing up for an adventure, so as yet payment has not been received for services rendered, as I'm sure you would be aware of.
I certainly am. There are many times I've thought to myself what it would be like if I had gone into the adventuring business where I don't get paid until after the fact, as opposed to being a merchant where I get paid up front. I'm glad I chose merchant.
It's a mug's game, all right.
He nods. He says, "Yep, that's why I'm glad I'm not one of them." So, gold. 5,000 gold for you, or 3,000 for this. I can tell you're the type who likes to acquire things quite often. These gloves would make it possible, my lad.
Right, so I'm just looking through my items going, right. What have I got?
You know, we do have a very strong layaway program. If you were to put down a little bit of money now and come back, say, once every few weeks, you could have any of these items before you know it. I'd take good care of your money in the meantime.
What sort of deposit scheme are we looking at here?
Oh, it's up to you. However much you can pay up front, that's something that'll cut down the cost of that instrument in the back. In fact, if we arrange this, I can promise you that I won't sell this thing to anyone else, as long as you're back in time to claim it.
Do you take any items in trade as well?
Well, that depends on what the nature of the trade is. What do you have?
So I'm going to rifle through my bags, and I've got, I have this, pull out an unvalued gem.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things.
I was going to say, like, remind me what this is.
It's just, I can't remember. Oh, hang on. I wrote something extra. Damn it, what's it say? Hang on. It says I got it off Droofy, apparently.
Oh, Droofy. Okay.
Those, yeah.
Yeah. How many of those do you have?
Just the one.
Okay. So he says, that's a nice gem you got there. You mind? And he holds his hand down.
I hand it over to him, keeping a very close eye on his hands.
Right. So he pulls out from below the desk this huge, like, it looks like a telescope. But then you notice that he attaches it to his eye, like basically just like, not screws it in, but almost like a monocle. Like he kind of winces over it, or like narrows his eyes over it and looks down. And he like looks way down, like in the thing, and looks at the gem. Yeah. Well, that's might valuable. You know, if you traded this to me, I could probably give you well, for instance, these gloves here. This thing would probably be worth, I think, maybe 600 gold right here.
That sounds like a good trade.
It's a good start, anyway.
Yeah.
5,000 minus 600, let's say. Arg, what is that? And the huge orc behind you says, that would be 3,400. Yeah, he's real smart with the magic types, with the math type stuff. And Arg, like, just is silent again, one tooth over his top lip.
Okay. Also thinking about, wait, there's more. I said I haven't been paid for my services rendered. That doesn't mean I don't make up the difference when I can.
Okay, so he nods. He says, all right.
Pull out a bag of assorted coins that I got from the Harper Teleport Network.
Okay. I'm trying to remember how much we listed that out. We need to be better. We all need to be better about keeping the numbers.
I never lose track of them.
Yeah. Let's see. I believe.
I've got my rations and my water skin. And you're just like,
I know, right?
Wonderful artifacts that I can sell you.
I think it was like, was it like 50, 100? It wasn't. I don't think it was like hundreds and hundreds, but maybe I'm wrong.
All you said was just a bag of assorted coins, like various types, various regions.
Yeah. That's right. Okay, I remember now. For the teleportation, yes, I remember. So he looked. So you sort of spill out the coins onto the counter, and he looks at them, and using this telescope thing again, he says, "Well," he's like, "Oi, some of these coins don't even look real. Are you trying to counterfeit me?"
I just swiped them, good sir. I know nothing of coins that are outside of my usual experience.
He says, "Hey, Cinch, come over here." Now, Cinch was the other one who hadn't moved yet. So Cinch walks over and then looks, and he says, and the gnome behind the counter says, "What you think?" And Cinch sort of strokes his chin. "Well, no, I don't actually believe these are counterfeit, but they may indeed be from an older time period. Perhaps hundreds of years ago. Quite valuable under the right circumstances."
Collectible.
And he nods, and the gnome says, "All right, Cinch. Thanks, then." And then Cinch goes back to his spot, and the gnome lowers his voice and says, "They're twins, you know. Sometimes I don't really understand what they're saying, but they're affordable and they're big, so the other stuff I don't really know. But they've got kind of a brain for some of this, you know." And
help is hard to come by.
And he nods. He says, "Yeah, good help is a problem sometimes." He says, "All right, it looks like if I were to weigh all this together, maybe, let's say you could get another," and he thinks about it, 500 from this. I'll give you, if you gave me this and the other, I'll give you 1,200 for the lot." He says, "But look here, even with the 1,200, you're still going to be short of the gold. Instead of this back and forth trading, suppose that we made a bit of an arrangement."
Go on.
You see, I've been looking to acquire some things from outside of Neverwinter. At the moment, I don't have a very large network. Everything I get are the things that that were given to us through inadvertent wills by old ladies who just happened to die suddenly. So, it's not really a growth industry, if you know what I mean. And I'm looking for things outside the city. So, if you can bring me the strange, the rare, the unusual, the off the beaten path, you understand. If you can bring some of those things to me, I'll let you trade them in towards these items. In fact, maybe you can even work for me. There's not too many who'd be able to say that old Ronner's done bad by them." And the aforementioned Ronner, the gnome, sort of smile. You think it's a smile, although it looks rather hideous through his scars. Quick note, by the way, there is the mother of all thunderstorms going on outside my house just now, so I really hope that doesn't matter and that my battery backup will be fine if anything happens. But in case we suddenly go dark, that's why. All of a sudden, it's just like blam, like just as the orc was coming over, I'm like, oh crap. Anyway, sorry. So Ronner sort of smiles at you, Celsi.
I mean, I'm tempted to see if I can get any insight into him, but he's shady as hell anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely do that if you want. It's up to you.
I may as well go for it, see if I can discern anything further. With a 20. Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So exactly as you just said. Oh my God, is he shady? Like you feel like he really, he never tells you everything exactly right. On the other hand, your guess is that if you had to put two and two together, he's probably right. Like, he doesn't have a lot of other people probably that could gather information from him, or if he does, they're people that he doesn't trust on things like this. And so there is maybe a chance that you could enter into arrangement with him on this score. Though again, it's quite possible that, he's also got his own sort of interest in mind.
This is true.
He says, also, I'd give you something else too for your trouble. If you happen to find ways of travel, I'd like to expand my network. If there's ways to get from place to place quickly that you might have information in, well, that would also be of use to me and my establishment. So you can pay up front, you can trade me old stuff that you find that, not junky stuff, mind you, none of this cheap antiques. I'm talking about the real stuff. Or you could find me a way of traveling quickly.
I start rubbing the transport teleport key around my neck thoughtfully, but not actually letting on beyond that. Just like,
He says, as you're sort of talking, you're doing that, he puts on one of the gloves, and he says, it's amazing, how well these things work. And you can see that his hands, as he's like moving them around, like his fingers are like, how do I describe them? They're a blur. Like, they're moving so quickly that you can't even imagine. Like, he goes down, he's like, for instance, if I do this, and then he does something with the loot, and the next thing you know, like, the tuning has been changed. Like, you can see that the screws have been loosened on some, and like, you barely saw him do it. And he's just like, yep, that's what these things are about. And he takes the glove off and sort of lays it in front of him and smooths it out very nicely. He says, love to see it go to the right kind of person that could put it through its paces, if you know what I mean.
I'd certainly like to give them a good home. I think I can find you the rare and unusual. Rare and unusual certainly describes a lot of what's been going on to me lately.
He says, good. That's the kind of thing I like to see. Well, then I think you know where you can do. And in the meantime, I'll keep looking out, of course, for things to see if there's anything that might be worth it for someone in your line of work. I have a suspicion you'd be the kind of person that would respond well to things like these, but maybe also, let's see. I sense, is there some ranger in your blood, maybe? No, can't possibly be. He kind of says, that's just silly on my part. Anyway, if there's anything old Ronner can do to help you, you just let him know as soon as you bring him back some of his stuff.
Would you consider this a down payment? And I pull out the pouch of pixie dust.
He says, that's a pouch.
It's what's in the pouch that counts. Genuine pixie dust.
And he sort of blinks and he says, pixie dust. You mean to make people glitter and stuff? I've heard of this. It's like a glitter bomb, right? I knew this person once. She was working 3 stops over. Her name was Lovelust or something, and she liked makeup. I knew that. I don't really much hold with that kind of thing. Is that what we're talking about?
This is for the discerning gentleman or gentlewoman who maybe needs a distraction or a diversion. You slip this into someone's food, they might start flying. They might fall asleep all of a sudden. They might disappear with everybody looking at them. Or they might think they're a potted plant in Waterdeep.
He's like, you mean I'm going to sell something that I don't really know what it does, good or bad?
It'll do something.
He's like, yeah, I have other things that will do something. He says, I kind of want something a little more predictable, honestly.
Fair enough. Can't blame a chap for asking. I've just put it back in my pocket.
It goes, I'm pretty sure you're talking about cocaine. Is that what we're talking about here? Are we talking about a bit of the blow? Not no, if that's what we're talking about.
Genuine fizz tech.
Because if that is, I don't hold with that kind of thing. No.
Wait. Blow is a word for cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It can be.
Not exclusively, but yes.
Today I learned.
Well, we learned some of the other words you learned, and yeah.
Well.
Now that we know. So, anyway, so go ahead, Celsic. Sorry.
So what was his name again? Just so I can.
So his name is Ronner, Ronner, and I really wanted to call him Rimmer just for Red Dwarf jokes, but I decided I wouldn't do that. So Ronner, he is a gnome, and he's a gnome shopkeeper.
Yeah, just with my notes that.
I just remember when you used that name in the other campaign, and everyone just kept calling him Ronnie.
That's right.
We're looking for Ronnie the elf. No, you're like, no, it's Ronner. Get it
It's
right.
Ronner. That's
I
right.
work really hard on these names.
It's true. Do you know how many names I have to make up on a daily basis? By the way, let me tell you, the notes are crazy. Anyway, okay. So if that's all, Celsig, from him,
I think that seems to have concluded our negotiations.
he says, "Right. Well, it's like I appreciate doing business with you, and I look forward to hearing from you really soon. And remember, no one's to know that you've been here, or I'll kill you and cut your head off." And he says with a big smile. And he says, "Am I right?" And he says to Arg and Cinch, and Arg and Cinch are like, "Oh yes, indubitably, yes." And I've got to make sure I mention his servants. Smart. Okay. Right. So you head off on your way. Let us jump over to River and Greta. So Greta and River, you've been going to a rather different part of town. This is a much more upscale district, you think you might say. And Greta, you may remember when you went looking for Urash's tuxedo. You actually went into this place that had this sort of elaborate, kind of this tailor with this elaborate thing. But as you were walking along, you find yourself, there's down the street, and this is basically, I don't want to call it the fashion district, but it's a place where there's a lot of stores with clothing. And you can see what looks like, out of the many gaily colored, bright store fronts that you see, this is the brightest and the most gaily colored of all of them. And this is, in case anyone's curious, Gaily, like very excitedly, happily, like there's lots of, like all the glitter that we were talking about last time, there's glitter on the window, there's balloons, there's like tons of like color and tapestries outside, and you can see in the windows multiple mannequins with different kinds of gorgeous and rather odd to you, but apparently gorgeous, dresses and blouses and skirts and hats and jackets and, the whole 9 yards. Clearly a clothing store, but this is like a step up from the ones you've seen to this point.
Okay, so River, we still need to find you a nice dress for the ball that we're going to visit in Waterdeep. Do you have any preferences?
Everything is so shiny.
Okay, so shiny. Okay. Do you have any money?
Let me look real quick. I have
Maybe.
I think I have like 17 gold.
Well, that's
How
something.
how many of those have you eaten on the walk here?
Well, I found out with the first gold that it's not very
It is
tasty.
really hard.
It's not like the gold chocolate coin, like the pirate gold coin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Tastes like bleeding.
Yeah.
They're all like,
Okay.
"Don't eat it, Chai. Don't do it."
I'm pretty sure I can also lend you a little bit, and most likely Celsi can help out. So, yeah, let's go in here and get you a nice dress.
Okay, so when you walk into this store, first of all, you walk through and you have to go through what look like several, essentially like bead curtains almost, except that instead of being beads, they look like sparkly little crystals, like pink and purple. And when you go through the pink and purple crystals, the second beads, it opens up almost immediately into this enormous interior where everywhere around you, lining the room, are mannequins of every size and description, from giant size, it looks like almost, not quite, but like, troll size almost, all the way down to maybe like fairy size, with all kinds of different clothing and stuff. There are dresses hanging from the ceiling. There are a number of people kind of bustling about. You can see many of them actually have like tape measures around their necks and stuff like that. There's only one floor. It looks like, it almost looks like a warehouse, except that it's like gorgeously furnished on the interior. There is a beautiful carpet, like shag carpet, that you're walking on, so you feel very cushioned as you're walking along. And as you're there, you see someone come bustling up to you. And it is what looks like an elven, looks like someone who is an elf, a female elf, with sort of dark brown hair, and comes up to you wearing this very fancy looking green cloak and dress, which seems to shimmer as she walks. And she comes up to you and she says, "Welcome to the clothing emporium of Neverwinter, where your clothing dreams are our fulfillments. What may I do for you? I assume that you're looking for clothing to make your next event spectacular."
Yeah, actually, you're right there. So my beautiful friend here needs a dress for the big ball in Waterdeep.
And she looks over and she says, "Of course she does. I can already see that her outlook would be changed if she could have one of our spectacular dresses." And she claps, and like from the ceiling descends this dress, like almost right on top of you, River, like down on top. And so Greta, you have a second, like just a moment to take a step back before the dress is already over River's head. So River, you have this moment of like, oh, what? Like, and then she, the elf pulls the dress down around you, and you are in this dress. It is this riot of pink. Like, so there's pink.
No.
And then there's pink like this. It's got pink ruffles, pink sequins, pink gems, pink epaulets, like pink, like everything is just pink, like pink. It is so pink. And she's just like, "This is our latest, one of our most spectacular new dresses that we have in stock. We call it Pretty in Pink."
Yeah, you may do that. This is I don't think this is what we're looking for. We're looking for something more elegant and simple.
And she says,
River, you're like silver with like white hair and blue eyes, right?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
right now, all of which is just reflecting in pink at the moment. But
Yeah. Can you color match? Maybe something that matches her eyes or something, not something that matches her blood.
Certainly. And she claps, and like, so the dress goes flying off you, like pulled up, and she the elf takes you, River, and says, "All right, right over here." And she seems to be positioning you underneath another dress, and then the dress comes down and like lands on top of you. And this, so I don't know if any of you saw, oh man, if I could I need to find the picture. If any of you saw the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe movie with what's her name, Tilda Swinton playing the White Witch. So this is so white that like it would make a snowfield go blind. Like, it is the whitest of white. And so she is just, and there's sparkling like what looks like diamonds, and just all the way up and down the sleeves there seems to be more of it. In fact, Greta, you're kind of like having to shield your eyes, because not only did it come down, but there seems to be some magical light. It almost looks like, to jump out of character for a minute, a disco ball. And she actually says, "Now, if you would, please turn around to show your companion how spectacular you can be." And she kind of spins you, River, and just this lights like shine, like Greta, you're like, ah, like just the lights just shining. And she's like, "This is what we call one of our most spectacular arrangements. It is called the unbearable whiteness of fashion." And she stops and sort of stares at it.
Just because I'm a very curious person, how do they accommodate her tail?
And as you can see, like, the back of the dress is kind of like curved up where the tail is, and she's like, well, she says, well, we could of course make adjustments, something to give that tail just as much finery as the rest of her person. And then she claps, and something else drops from behind the dress, and it actually is something which falls on top of your tail, River. And the elf bends down and sort of attaches it, and when she stands up with this great smile on her face, Greta, you can see that an enormous white bow has been tied to the back of her tail.
No. This looks like a flagpole. This is not okay. This is just no.
And all the while,
She needs
a
like a slit. She needs like a slit for the tail or something. You can just lift the dress up and everybody sees her behind. That's
She
not
says,
okay.
well, we will make an adjustment, of course, for that. We can perhaps adjust the dress by placing and she sort of like seems disgusted at this word, a cut in the dress, and it almost sounds like she's like tearing up a little bit. We could cut it to accommodate the tail, but it's all right if it makes it spectacular.
Okay, I look at River. River, do you like this dress?
Now, you haven't seen yourself yet, really, River, other than just being blinded by the light, but you could go and ask for a mirror or something if you wanted.
I was just like, so I'm standing here, like all stiff and confused.
Yeah.
I'm like, it hurts my eyes.
Okay. So this is not good then. We need a different dress. The dress that hurts her doesn't seem to be doing the job very well.
And she goes, and now the dress pulls up, and also the bow, like for a minute, River, you feel your tail being yanked, and then the bow is like somehow disconnected also, and they all go flying up into the ceiling. And she says, all right, well, perhaps you need something a little more active, perhaps more earthy, more mature. Yes, that is what is needed. And she pulls you over to this one spot. And Greta, this time you kind of just look up just because you're curious. And you see what looks like, at first you think it's a chandelier. And then as she does the thing, the thing
The
comes
chandelier
down.
drops.
Yeah, the chandelier drops. Very much Phantom of the
Okay,
Opera style, right?
I tackle River.
You do what? Have you?
Tackle me.
I don't want to. Don't want the chandelier to fall on her. I'm going to tackle River now.
So it turns out that what happens is you tackle her, and what lands on top of you is not a chandelier, but in fact the bottom of a hoop skirt. And apparently this thing up top was not a light, it was actually a hoop skirt. And from inside the hoop skirt you hear, unfortunately, dresses are not spectacular when worn by two people at once. If you would allow one person to try on the merchandise at a time, please. And she claps, and the thing rises again, and she's looking down at the both of you, and she kind of has her arms folded and staring at you, Greta.
River, I think we should leave.
I thought it was pretty.
You like it?
I don't know. You were wearing it, but I thought it looked good on you.
Well, no, actually, both of you were buried
Oh, we
underneath
were
it.
both buried.
Yeah, that was the idea. You were both buried underneath it because she tackled you, so...
That's true. That's true.
But she could stand up and move away and have you try it if you want. It depends on what Greta wants.
You want to try it on?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
this one
then-
drops, and this one is actually you have to say, admittedly, you have to say that this is a dress that is sort of in dark purple and black, and it does actually set off her white scales so that it actually looks rather surprisingly stunning, actually. It's not too gaudy, and the elf looks vaguely disappointed. She's kind of like, this is one of our more traditional dresses, but perhaps with a little bit of adjustment we could make it more spectacular. And she looks at you, River, and she says, but the question is, my dear, how do you feel in it? And there's a fairly large slit in the back, actually, River, to accommodate your tail. And Greta, you have to admit that of the three that you've seen, this isn't awful. Like, you know, it's pretty good, maybe. I mean, it's still fashion, which you don't fully understand.
So we have like white hair, silver scales, and a purple and blue dress.
Yeah, not blue, purple and black, but it's
Purple
dark
and
purple
black.
and black, which seems to set off the white.
Okay, so River, do you like it?
I don't know. I can't see.
And she says,
Is your
I
eyes
can
still
provide
hurting?
that, my dear. and she claps, and a mirror like drops River right in front of your face, like 2 inches from you, and she says, "There you are." So now you're able to see yourself as I've described it, River.
Yeah.
And it's up to you what you think of it.
I take a step back and look down, and then look at the mirror, and then look down, and then look at the mirror. Like I'm surprised that that's what I look like.
Yeah.
And then I just start spinning in circles really fast. I'm so pretty.
As you do so, people clear out of the way, like it's like, and the elf smiles and says, "You see what I mean? Spectacular."
Okay. Then I think we found a dress. So, how much is it?
She says, now that, of course, is a good question. This
Yes.
is a dress that, well, it's somewhat out of season. It's somewhat out of fashion, and it's somewhat out of production. And so, well, I guess I've been looking for reasons to have it used by someone. I could let this go for, she thinks, let us say 75 gold.
Wait, hang on. And I quickly
hang on.
pull out the purple ribbon. Does this help?
And she says, "Yes, it does, my dear. It matches your dress and makes you look even more spectacular." Oh, and then she realizes, like, wait, that's not what you meant. She said, "Yes, so you've helped the town, I see. Well, there is a discount available. I never should have begun using those Groupons, but never mind." And she sort of looks around and says, "I will honor it. Yes, we can give you a discount. In this case, I would be willing to let this dress go for 30 gold. An enormous discount. Spectacular one, in fact."
Okay. Yeah. Okay, then, River, I'm gonna need your 17 gold, and I'm gonna add 13 of mine, and then we have a dress for you.
Okay. And so I
Yeah.
just throw my money at you.
I catch it. Do you wear shoes?
No?
Good.
She says,
Pretty sure I have talents.
she
You know,
says,
maybe some kind of sandals or something?
She says, "I can see about the possibility of that." Now she claps, but this time both you and River sort of instinctively, like Pavlov's dog, look up at the ceiling. But this time,
Yeah.
River, you get this shock as something opens below your feet and goes thunk, and something attaches below your feet, and you look down and you see that you're now wearing purple and black sandals. Moreover, those sandals seem to be slightly higher in the back than in the front. You've never really experienced this before, so it's a little odd. And she's like, "This is one of the latest fashions. We like to think that your fashion sense begins when you are best grounded."
She says that while I'm wobbling, trying to
Yeah,
understand
exactly.
what
As
the
you're
hell
like
is
sort of
up.
like, well, she's like, "This is all the rage these days. In fact, far more contemporary, my dear, than perhaps that dress. Yet somehow they work together. The match is, what's the word I'm looking for? What is it?" And she looks to you, Greta. "What is that word I'm looking for? It's perfect. It's
Spectacular?
yes, that's it." And she grabs your shoulders. "Yes, I couldn't have said it better myself. Yes, my dear. In fact, they look so good on you." Now, the truth is, you can barely see them below this hoop skirt that I mentioned. So she says, "They look so good on you that I insist on charging you very little for them. They're almost part of the ensemble. Let's say 5 gold for the both.
So, wait, for the both? So you
Combined, I
actually
mean total."
So I could buy just one shoe if I wanted?
She blinks.
I'm just curious. I'm sorry. I just Okay.
There's
Yeah.
just she's a deadpan, like doesn't react at all. She's just staring at you.
Well, okay. Yeah, please just wrap it up, and we're gonna take it out. To go, please.
And she says, very well, very well. And she claps twice, and River, the dress goes flying off you. Your feet like whoa, you like stumble forward, and both of them taken away. And then within just like 30 seconds, you see a box being brought to the elf that was helping you by another one of the workers in the store. And she goes behind the counter and she says, "Yes, right over here, if you please." And then she does something as you come over and you give her the gold, assuming that you do.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not running.
As you give her the gold, she seems to be working with something. She's like, yes. She seems to be like detaching something. She's like, good. Very important to prevent any kind of theft or shoplifting. And clicks off something and then sort of drops it in this basket next to it and then pushes it across to you and says, there, my dear. Now you should be able to. And then all of a sudden there's a cry from the front door of the store. And you hear this sound, and then and you look over and you see someone dangling from a rope at the top of the ceiling by their foot. And they're holding a dress which is below them. And the person who's helping you shakes her head and she says, that's what I mean. A common thief, thinking they could escape from our store. This is the result. I am so sorry that you had to see that. We try to make our experiences of shopping spectacular. However, they will pay for their crime.
Okay.
Does she leave, or is she still standing there? Like, does she to help the person?
She's standing. Like the person is up above the door, so you could just depart if you wanted.
Oh, okay. No, I was wondering if she had vacated the area, so that way a very curious River might pick up a certain gold pouch.
I see.
But no, she's still standing there then. No.
Yeah, that is correct. Also, my Zoom is acting oddly, so bear with me. I don't know why it's doing that.
Mike, you here?
It's not me. It's not me.
Yeah, no, it's not Mike. It's on my end. Something is not. Something is not.
It's not me for once.
It's weird. It's like Zoom just froze on me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and I'm making of course I'm making a stupid face.
All right, let me call you guys. Let me call you right back. You still have Discord open, so let me call you right back, and I'll give you a new Zoom link. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that, peoples. Give me just a second. I will get them back in just a minute. I think it was they just couldn't stand how much fashion there was. It just, Yeah, for once it's me, not exactly, not Screaming Joypad. For once it is me. Everything broke, freak out. Okay. Alright. And... Okay, there's the new link. Just bear with me 1 second whilst we get everyone back in here.
You back?
Almost. We're getting there.
It is stop whistling.
Windows are odd for a minute, so hang on there, chat. We will get them back running in just a second.
We're still live. We're fixing it in post. Live.
Doing it live.
Whoa! Screaming Joypad, you were like 6 different people at this moment.
It's just different sections of my face.
This is what happens when you play 7 D&D campaigns at the same time.
Yeah. Become the final boss. It's like a scene out of Silent Hill.
It's true. Okay. Now I just have to adjust everyone so you're in your proper windows.
River was briefly entirely my chin.
I was.
That is...
You are now all beard.
Alright.
I'm
So,
Now we're all in the wrong spot.
yeah, I know. I'll get to that. I'll get to that in just a second. That's-
Okay, now I am Greta.
And I'm Orash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. I'll play River for a bit. It's fine.
How's that gonna go?
I don't know.
Do it?
All right.
I can't
let's
live up to
see.
the talent that you brought to the table so far.
Oh god,
I'm
I
just
just
gonna hate
like
you.
imagine, like for some reason, River and Urash just swapped bodies.
Yes.
Well, something about this fashion scene like just so threw everybody off that you guys are just like, look, I don't even
Yes,
know.
but now I get to have an epic beard.
Yes, and we heard before that I heard a rumor that apparently beards are a good thing to have. People like beards, so I was like, all right, well, we got that covered because all of us are all of us are all about
beards.
it.
I like
sometimes-
beards really.
Well,
I like beards
Yeah.
so much I've got a fake one in the cupboard behind me.
You got a
Oh,
fake one in the cover behind you. Well, I was.
you have a real one on your face. What do you
Your
mean?
face.
I've
It's
actually.
Gandalf grade though.
It's not enough. I've had.
It's not enough beard.
Mine are good for like storing pens and pencils.
That's good stuff.
Great. This is
It's good for
See,
storing.
I don't. That's the thing. I don't like to go. If I go too long, then it gets nuts. So I like the sort of neatly trimmed one. But I used to joke with my daughter about it. I'm like, well, I could always just shave it off, and she's like, no. She's like, no. Because she's like, not joking around. She's like, I do not want dad. You would not be my dad. I don't know who you would be. Like, and I remembered my father shaving his beard when I was little, and me being really upset because I'm like, who is this person that I know here? And so my daughter's very much in that same group. Anyway, sorry about that. We are back. Sorry about that, everybody.
This is getting longer than I want.
See, that's exactly. Okay.
I legit have a beard hairdresser. I'm making up for the amount of hair I don't have on my head.
Is 8-Bit the only stream team member that doesn't? No, I'm thinking of which stream team members have beards and which don't have beards.
Let's see.
8-Bit doesn't. Yeah.
8-Bit does
8-Bit
not have a
does not have
beard.
a beard. No. Fleos does not have.
Fleos
a
doesn't have a
beard.
beard.
But Fleos did have a mustache for a time, didn't he? Oh,
I-
well, that was just the old photos that he. Oh, no, forget it.
Does Pieman have a beard? We have no idea.
Pieman has a beard.
We'll go with yes.
Hey,
All
Pieman has.
pies have beards.
Pieman has a beard. I've seen it.
What?
You've
Yes.
seen it?
What?
Yes.
Yeah, I've
Wow.
seen Pac-Man's face too.
Yes.
What?
You indeed have a beard.
What are
Can
you
correct
talking
it?
about?
He does. No, seriously.
Pieman.
Like the long membership
What?
I wasn't aware of. Do I get it on my 3rd anniversary? I get to see his face.
What? I mean, yeah, like what?
Pieman put a picture of himself online.
He did.
What?
It was a while
No,
ago.
and it wasn't just the pie, right?
But I thought we didn't confirm that though. Wait, I know about
No,
this.
No, really, he did, and it is confirmed. It is him.
It's not a picture of a piece of Boston cream pie, which is what he always does as a joke. What?
Actually,
I'm
that
all right. I'm
one-
sorry. We'll get back to the game. I'm just gonna sort of.
I'm gonna link
kind
it.
of
I'm gonna link
stunned.
it
I'm just-
later. I'm gonna link it later.
Yes,
You
please
like
do.
it?
Oh my
Hi,
god.
we will violate his privacy.
I really, yeah, exactly. And Kilgore has a beard.
Online.
Kilgore
Kilgore
has a
does have a
beard. It's
beard.
true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, Kilgore has a beard. Okay, so sorry about that, folks. I don't know what happened there, but we're back. So, okay. Where were we? You guys were finishing up. You were just leaving the shop, I believe, if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken.
with the dress and with the shoes now. No.
Yes, with all of those things there. You also notice, by the way, now it's not too much for you to be able to handle, but it's definitely a little heavy. Like you notice that it's good quality fabric we're talking about here, that you've got here. But
Do
seems
we
to
now
work
have
fine.
like one of those metal hoop things as well?
Yes. Not metal though. It seems to be some kind
is it
of wood.
foldable?
Yeah, it is. It's
Okay.
it's like so. Actually, it's kind of cleverly designed in that it's like a half circle, and then the half circle unfolds into the full circle. So basically, the way she folded it was, she pushed the dress down. So basically, if you can imagine it compressing, almost like a, I don't know, like a cake. If you can imagine a wedding cake, and if you imagine squishing it so that all the layers went into each other, so it went flat. You follow what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah.
And then she folded up the hoops. So she folded it up so that it actually lay flat. So it's almost like a compressible dress, basically.
So now we have like a big flat thing.
Right. And she put it in a box for you that way.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, here, River. Do you want to carry your new dress?
And I like grab it and I'm like,
Okay, wonderful. Then let's go back to the inn and meet up with the other guys. I'd say.
Okay. I
I got my healer's kit stuff. She got her dress. I think we should be fine. I'm broke now, but that's the thing that happened.
But you got an awesome dress, which is what matters. I'm just
I'm sure Salsa can help.
I'm getting out of Discord just so you guys know, just in case, because the internet's a little wonky at the moment, I'm sure, because of this ridiculous storm going on outside, so that may have had something to do with Zoom as well. So I'm diverting all power to shields, basically, is what I'm doing. Okay. Okay, so you guys are heading back. So the only one we haven't dealt with yet is Urash, and I'm sorry to say, Urash, that for this one, this is actually fairly straightforward. This one is just the sort of basics. You're able to gather the information together, and during this time, of course, still weighing on your mind is the issue with the axe in particular, like thinking about what the axe means and the implications of it as you're sort of putting it together. So you get the stuff that you need without incident at the costs that I described. And then when you head back, you're able to meet with everybody. As you all get back together, Selsig, you see Urash looking, just sort of seems content that he's got what he needed. Urash, you see Selsig looking thoughtful, might be the way to describe it. And all of you, Selsig and Urash, see Greta and River carrying this large, long box, and River looks particularly excited. Greta looks a little confused.
Okay. we bought a dress.
Okay.
It's so pretty.
Why?
Because she needs to go to the ball in Waterdeep with us.
Oh yeah, that thing. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's got to be close now. We kind of waffled a lot of a way around here.
You seem to be a bit grumpy, Urash. Are you all right?
No, I'm good. We'll get to Waterdeep, and I could do with a drinking Waterdeep, and I could do with having a talk with all of you as well.
I mean, we can still spend the night here in Neverwinter and maybe have some kind of nice dinner together.
I'm happy with that. Everyone else is happy with it.
Yeah.
Hey!
I almost dropped the box at the mention of food. I'm just food.
I was waiting for you to accidentally munch the box, and Greta's like, God, no! Oh. But no, not quite that bad. Okay.
No, not quite that bad.
Okay, so you folks are going to go and have dinner. You're able to go back to the tavern that you were staying at, where a delightful dinner of stew. It's some kind of a, what they describe it as a lizard stew. So there are these chunks of fairly good, actually, succulent lizard meat, tastes like chicken, that are floating in the stew. There's a lot of fresh potatoes and carrots and onions and all that, and there's a really great smell that's coming out of it. More importantly, there's a lot of it, and it doesn't seem to stop, so you can continue to eat. And so as River's occupied, no, the whole crew is able to eat. And so you have a chance to chat with each other if you like. It's now in the evening. The noise outside has died down quite a bit, and it's maybe about like 9 o'clock at night, so the darkness is settled in.
Okay, so I have some. Actually, before I get into this, are there many people around us at the minute?
No, the tavern is pretty empty. There is, of course, the bartender, who also doubles as the innkeeper. There is one sort of older dwarf, kind of by the what looks like by the sort of back of the room, which has been nursing a flagon of ale for a while, but doesn't seem to be paying any particular attention to you.
Okay. So I went to the House of Knowledge to try and get this identified. I motioned to the bracelet, and I thought to myself it would be a good idea to get Droopy's axe identified as well. And the reason I wanted to do that was because, do you remember when we were attacked by those flying things near the forest before we basically got thrown off a cliff? Do you remember this?
When I was in the water.
Yeah, that. So I lost my axe, my old axe, during that fight, and I used this axe that I got off of Droopy, and it felt. Now I've followed Tempest. Okay, I love Tempest, and I believe I'm a devout believer in the God of War and the God of Battles. And I don't shy away from a fight, as you know. Greta, you've literally had to stitch me back together after a couple of them. But when I used this axe, it felt different, and it felt like that fight was the only thing that mattered at that moment, and all I cared about was driving my axe into my enemy, which I was okay with, obviously, but I kind of wanted to understand why, because every time I wield the axe in battle since then, or just use the axe in general, when we were attacked at the keep, that sort of thing, I feel more energetic, I feel stronger even, and I don't feel like I tire as quickly. And obviously, all of this sounds fantastic for me, because I can run further, I can kill things easier, that sort of thing. So I thought to myself it might be magical. So I asked at the House of Knowledge to identify it, and the monk there, whose name I have written down, but I cannot remember, Brother Cagliostros?
Yes.
Cagliostros? Brother Cagliostros, the guy who basically greeted us at the House of Knowledge, told me that this axe has a bit of a bad history to it. I'm not really sure how to tell you guys this, because it impacts yourselves as well. So it's cursed, which is bad, and it's super powerful apparently, which is good. But what I basically understand of it is it's known as the Axe of the Berserker, or the Axe of Blood, and it means that I live for the fight, I live for battle, but it also means that it puts you all in harm's way if you're near me. I may or may not be able to recognize friend from foe while I'm using it. I don't know enough about it in order to say whether or not I'd be able to distinguish friend from foe whilst I'm using it. So far, and I'll kind of pat the table, we've been pretty safe because I've not taken a swing at anyone. I've not been confused. I've not felt confused. But it's not something that I can ignore, and it's something that you all need to know about. And as far as the House of Knowledge is aware, there's no way of lifting it, or not an easy way of lifting it.
So
Yep.
how about not using the X anymore?
Yeah,
See,
get a new stick.
I've tried.
I know a guy who'll buy it.
I was thinking that, and that is what I mentioned to the brother at the House of Knowledge, and he basically said that part of the curse is that once you start using it, you are compelled to continue using it, and you don't want to give it up. And whilst I was on my walk earlier, I tried twice to just leave it somewhere, and I couldn't even take it off my back in order to do that. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I thought to myself I could replace it and only put it on my back and use my other axe. And before I knew it, I'd walked past the armorer, I'd walked past the weaponsmith, and I just completely ignored that thought in my head. So it's that I can't do that. I can't not. Something is telling me to use this weapon.
But if I leave it somewhere,
I wouldn't want anyone to try and take it off me, because if this has some sort of control over me, I wouldn't want to hurt a friend.
and I go back to the stew.
Okay. So what do you think we should do?
I don't know. I've only ever heard about curses in stories. I've never had a cursed item. I don't know what it's like. I don't feel any different. I just sometimes don't act on my thoughts and impulses like I normally do. Like if I thought something was dangerous and I was carrying it around, I'd immediately just get rid of it. But I can't seem to do that. I just can't seem to do it.
Can the X theoretically be destroyed?
I don't know. Again, I don't know enough about it. As far as I know, that's all the information that. Actually, stepping out of for a second. Did the brother at the House of Knowledge mention if it could be destroyed or not?
No, didn't make reference to it.
No.
Certainly not in conventional means, but because generally the curse usually binds together the item so that it's more than just sort of melting it down. and also you would need to actually somehow have the strength or the ability to, throw it in the fire to be unmelted, even if you could. But the impression that you get is that it might be able to be done. Certainly there are some, some of the dwarf forges would probably be capable of doing this, but it would have to be tied in with some kind of ritual to remove the curse as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never.
We found a mountain, possibly one that's a volcano, maybe, and we could throw it in there, perhaps.
Sure. Called Fount Room in the land of Forlore.
Yeah, exactly.
Called Mount Danger.
And then be rescued by the beagles, so that'll be fine.
Yes.
The beagles are
Like
coming.
that.
The llamas are coming. Anyway, yeah, I don't know if it can be destroyed. My concern is, I take a big drink of my beer at this point.
Okay.
I put it down. So where I grew up, there, fighting like the way I fight is a way of life. It's you do that or you're cast out of the tribe. It's how you survive. And some warriors are up for the fight, and some aren't up for the fight. There are those, however, who are so consumed by the fire of Tempest and by the fire of the fight that they can never tell friend from foe. And these are the people you push out into the battlefield, and you just let them do what they need to do. And if they come back, they come back. And if they don't, then it's one less crazy person to worry about. And I don't want to turn into that person. I've seen what that can do to some of my tribe members, and I don't want that to happen to me, especially not with, and I motioned to the table, especially not with a tribe that I've found now. So I don't know what we do.
I would say we try to knock you out, put you to sleep, and then hide the eggs.
Volunteers, anyone?
I
saying.
stand up with a really big fist. I can do it.
See? We
I feel like I
care.
probably couldn't. I might better than
I know we haven't all known each other for very long, but we've shared some really good times and some horrifically bad ones as well. But I'd understand if you asked me to leave.
We are very apparently not asking you to leave.
Who else would kill a giant?
Yeah, I mean, this is just another problem, and we're gonna solve this one as well. Apparently, we're supposed to save the world. If we don't, the problem with the eggs is just, I don't know. It's not really important. And if we do, I'm pretty sure we can solve the problem with the eggs as well.
All right,
There might be more information at Waterdeep.
Yeah, there's some smart people in Waterdeep.
And we could still try to steal your eggs while you're sleeping.
It's a good solution.
I just shrug. I just shrug. I mean, that means a lot. Thank you. It would be
No
very
problem.
it would be very easy for you to just say you it might be a bit dangerous to have you around. Off you go. Bye.
I thought you said it means a lot for you that you'd steal my axe. I really appreciate that you'd steal my axe from me, and thank you.
You're a
I think-
friend. We are your tribe. We can't just cast you out. That would be really evil.
I've seen it happen for less. Like a lot
No.
less. So it means a lot that
No.
you guys.
No, they all left us.
That's a good way of putting it. Very good way. So
One of them left us for a dog. I just want to point this out. I'm not thinking of anybody particularly, but Flayos, if you see this.
We know what you did.
it's funny because it's true.
It's quite an epic White Fang campaign, though.
Yeah.
So no.
All right, I think we should have
we're
a
not.
think
We're
about
not. But also, if we left you behind, the problem with the eggs would still not be solved, and maybe then you like do something that you don't want to do and that we would not want you to do, and then we would all feel guilty. So no, we just can't push that responsibility away.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think we do need to think about my role in the battlefield, though, and how that's going to work. But not tonight, friends. Tonight we eat and we drink and we celebrate the good times.
Well said.
I
Then
would
let's
like
do
everyone to make a perception check for me, please.
Oh, God.
Come on, baby.
What is my perception?
Ooh, 23.
It's totes crap. Alright.
Ah, 20.
Wow.
I see a lot right now.
You see
I'm feeling
all.
real deep on this.
Yep. Everything is ones and zeros.
I can hear a beetle whistling.
Who are you people?
Goodness, like I'm blind.
You're just like, oh my God, when did an orc get here?
I've got some tears in my eyes, that's all.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Exactly.
I'm just interested in my stew.
Yeah, you just like you perceive
words.
stew. You definitely perceive stew. Selsig and Urash, you notice that pretty much like right as you finish the last sentence about now we should just. You notice that the old dwarf on the back of the room gets up and trundles out of the inn.
Okay.
Not me.
As in, I can physically see him
Yep.
moving towards the door.
Yep.
Can I have a closer look at him?
Sure. He just looks to be. He actually looks slightly taller than most dwarves that you know. Slightly taller. In fact, he looks as if he's kind of semi-shuffling, I guess you might describe it as he walks. He seems older. But something seems odd about his gait or his demeanor or something. Something seems, I mean, not like, aha, he's evil. Something seems odd about him. But the main issue, the reason you notice is that literally it was kind of like, you're like, and that's that. Beat. And then he stands up and like leaves, essentially. Which may just have been his time. But it struck you as a little odd, basically. He has, by the way, kind of dark leather armor that he's got. Looks like maybe a short sword at his belt. And a couple of maybe tools on the other side of his belt, like small little hammers and stuff.
Okay.
And he exits.
Cool.
All right.
Just a man leaving the tavern.
King of Kings, kill him. Really?
I'm trying to think of an excuse to like follow him or something, but it's just there's nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the evening passes uneventfully, unless you're all doing something different. But if not, then the evening passes uneventfully, and the next morning, you folks are ready to go. Now, I assume.
No.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Greta.
Do I have some kind of sleeping powder or something like that in my healing kit?
Oh.
Oh,
Ow. Oh, right.
Well, the three of you, that is not Urash, could try to think of a way. No, you do not have a sleeping powder.
I have
but-
something that has a 1 in 4 chance of putting him unconscious.
It should
What are the
work.
other three things?
You could be flying 60 feet in the air for 10 minutes.
Then we can still
Or you could
steal
be
his eggs.
invisible for an hour.
Oh, what?
Or you could be invisible for an hour or become confused.
Oh, yeah, because the confusion sounds really good at this point.
Yeah, confused, cursed barbarian. What's the worst that could happen? Oh,
It-
he's attacking a fountain.
Why
If he
won't
flies-
this water stop? Like,
If he flies 60 feet in the air, will he get down safely again?
Nope.
Instructions
Fine.
not clear. Ask again later.
As safe as me getting down from the top level of the wizard's tower was. So
And
no.
that was okay
He
from my
can
point of
survive the
view.
fall. Yeah, he can survive the fall. It's fine. It's fine.
it's fine.
This is tried and tested. This is science.
Yeah.
Okay, and also maybe he will not fly that high because he gets
I'm
stuck in
so
the
glad.
roof.
I'm so glad concussions aren't a thing.
Oh god, I have been waiting like half a year to use this powder.
It's a good point. You've had it for a long time.
You just
Okay.
keep shaking it on top of him. Okay, he's invisible. Try it again. 25%.
If he
25%.
turns it, if he
I've been
turns it-
XCOM'd. 25%.
You flying
If he turns it
asleep. What was the other one?
confused.
Invisible, confused, invisible, flying, asleep, half-orc barbarian in the middle of a tavern. Let's go with
Okay. So we have a 50-50 chance.
Really angrily, like bumping against the ceiling.
Okay, if it works, what are we gonna do with the eggs?
I know a guy.
Yeah, but I think I mean, if somebody touches this, it might also infect us, so we need to kind of wrap it up or something. Urash, can you wrap it up, like, preemptively?
I can try.
Okay.
I will try to do that. I will grab.
I mean, it's a 50-50 chance. I think that is good enough, isn't it?
I am starting to get a bad feeling about it.
Oh yeah.
Me too.
What could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong?
Right now.
I mean, really, should we solve this problem as soon as possible? Like, now?
Yeah, but I mean, you don't meddle in the affairs of wizards, you don't anger a dragon, and you don't steal the barbarian's cursed axe.
Okay, River is the wizard and the barbarian in the same person. So, so let's go with the barbarian.
Okay, so it looks like we're doing this now.
I guess we're doing this now. Well, we're gonna try. I
Okay.
think I'm gonna get beat up though.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I'm not-
I need to know how you're planning to do this. Use the
How-
pixie dust on the axe. Well, do you want a confused axe of blood? I just want to make sure.
Okay.
It might get confused and forget it's cursed.
I'm not
Yes.
sure that's how cursing
I'm
works.
actually blessed. I love my life as an axe. like,
I mean, seriously, he snorts the powder, whatever you're supposed to do with it.
I'm feeling sharp. I don't have an edge anymore.
And if he flies or falls asleep, we get that axe away. And then we hope when he stops flying or sleeping, he's fine.
And that he doesn't.
That doesn't sound really good. I mean, we need a way to destroy the eggs, maybe, right?
You didn't even get done with it. You're like, no, it doesn't sound like a good idea. As you say it.
The volcano idea sounds better.
Yeah, let's go Mount Danger. It's fine.
But, so,
Now, I do have to say, I do want to mention one thing just very quickly, Greta. So one thing to think about is you do have access, of course, to, in the city where you are, you know, knowledge and places. You could look at a map of the Sword Coast and you could try to find a place that, you know, might be available to you, you know, and see if there's a place that could, you know, whether it's a dwarven stronghold, whether it's a wizard's tower, whether it's
I
a
get
volcano, you know, like,
I
and
get you.
yeah,
We drop it in the sea.
or something.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
That never
Like I
goes
said,
wrong.
Maybe really we should look into, like, if we get him flying or sleeping, we should have a plan for what to do with the eggs. Because if he goes and slays whoever you're gonna go give the eggs to, Celsic, that might not solve our problems. Maybe just yours.
I'm not
I feel
entirely
like
convinced
an unwilling
that's
bystander in
the
this.
best
Oh,
idea.
gosh.
But
Okay.
what if we try dropping it in the sea, right? And then it calls to him, and then he drowns trying to get it.
Then I'm a dead orc.
Yeah, you are a dead orc.
Yeah, and when we're talking about a person pre-curse who thought the best way to get down a tower was face first.
Yeah. The man has a point.
So okay, then maybe we will. I mean, as long as we have the pixie dust, we still have this option. I mean, this is something we could do. If you freak out, we're just gonna blow the pixie dust at you.
Quick, act confused.
Seriously, it's like he attacks us, and we blow the pixie dust at him, and he's like, gone.
I can just imagine him in midair, unable to move, just going, come here, at all the birds.
Damn it,
Stupid
Cloud.
kid.
I need vengeance. I love you.
And I also would like to say that this is actually how I imagine this party would have this kind of discussion after a good meal and some beers.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
This is
without doubt.
100%
Very
accurate.
good.
Like, this is completely accurate. Okay, so are you trying this tonight, or are you not actually trying it?
no, we're not
Okay.
trying this tonight, but I feel better now that we have a plan.
Okay, we have a plan. So it's
We
like
have a
in
plan
case
set.
of curse, break by pixie dust, basically.
Yeah.
Yes, in case of curse, break pixie dust. This
Oh,
is what we're gonna do.
I like it.
It's gonna end so well for me. I'm gonna end up in prison.
Could we find
Or actually,
a volcano?
buddy.
I mean, you could
Also,
look on the map.
Now, also, I should now tell you guys about the Ring of Winter, right?
Oh god.
Do Just dropping bombs left and right.
Speaking of curses,
You know that main quest we're on? Well, I got an update for you.
So, now that on the topic of curses, I have some information about the Ring of Winter. And I will reiterate what Arvin said earlier because I'm really tired. So, the ring actually is kind of a powerful, nearly demonic item, and the wearer does not age. And it is cold to the touch. And Arvin.
oh, I was just waiting. I thought you were doing great. I was like, yeah, that it generally has not stayed with one owner for very long, which suggests that there's sort of an assumption of, again, maybe it's not an official curse, but people who have this ring don't tend to last very long with it, because it's a target of people's desires, sometimes wrongfully so.
Except for not aging, there was another thing it does, right?
Provides complete immunity to cold.
Yeah.
And what else did I say? There were like two other things. I'll look for it, but those are the big things.
Okay, good. Then that is what I'm going to. So that's what I know about the Ring of Winter.
I know there was something like out of character the one we was like, we definitely want to keep it away from Urash.
Oh, I got it. I'm sorry. Also made it impossible for the wearer to be detected through divination magic. Which is another reason that it was hard probably to track down someone like Artisimber, right? Because, and the danger of it, I don't know if I mentioned this about the control of the weather, but that under certain circumstances, it could, if its power were amplified, reduce the temperature.
Yeah, that was the thing.
And if you amplified it enough and you expanded its effect, well, think reverse climate change, right? Like over a large scale.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, that's not going to be the example I'm going to use because I think nobody in this world is going to get it. But I think it might make the place a lot nicer for frost giants.
Right.
So yeah, that's the thing. So we should get it, and then keep it away from irresponsible people. And as of right
I know
now,
a guy.
Oh, this guy's now your official friend.
He's my guy.
I got a guy for that.
He's my boy.
I got a magic ring guy. I got a magic axe guy. I got a magic ring guy. I got everything guy.
Yeah.
Right, I like the idea that the party keeps thinking you have a special guy just for each individual item. Like, oh yeah, I have a Ring of Winter guy, like who only wants the Ring of Winter.
Artifact disposal service. What can I say?
So, and with that I include the Harpers and that crazy dragon. Not you.
The other crazy dragon.
The other crazy dragon. So right now I would be
Talismanic. Talismanic was cool.
I would be in favor of getting the ring to the Sephiroth.
Da, da, da.
I said no.
Trying. I'm still trying.
It's fine. No, go with it. Go with it. It's the in joke. Don't worry about it.
Sephiroth.
If you want to know what this in joke is, please visit episode. Well, I can't even remember which episode it was.
Several
now.
days ago, and look
Several days
for
ago.
several sessions
So,
ago.
our friend, the Griffin friend.
You
with
mean
the
do you mean
flying-
wingdings?
No. His
Zephyros.
Yeah, Zephyros.
dead one.
Yeah, Zephyros. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
We knew who you meant.
Yeah.
Somebody said it. Good. Okay. Haha. I feel smart now. And so yeah, that would be my idea if we ever get that ring.
It's not a bad shout. Not a bad shout.
So yeah. And I think with all these wonderful good night stories, we should try to sleep, and then in the morning go to Waterdeep.
We're all gonna die.
We're actually going to drink.
Can I roll to flee in the night?
Only if you leave the safety pouch behind.
The safety pouch.
That's fine, but the teleport key's coming with me.
On the front of the pouch is just a piece of paper with
I
like
like
an
it.
orc's head with an X through it. Like,
Yeah. I like this. You're all like, oh, no worries, we got you, fam, we got you. And then I wake up and everyone's gone. Oh, damn it.
You're
No.
face down in the mud. Like, oh.
I'm so. Oh.
That'd be disturbing. All right, before we go on, I do want to stop for just a minute and welcome everybody who's watching. We've had really good turnout all day today. Welcome to D&D with GOG, Storm King's Thunder. This is episode 126 of Pen and Pixels. I'm your host, Arvin Eleron. I am joined by Pyron J, Darksaber2K, Screaming Joypad, and Tasty Chai, the wonderful party of people that is trying to figure out this deal with the Ring of Winter. I do want to mention, by the way, Hidden Roar, that we'll be going until about 7 o'clock, so about 45 more minutes. 7 o'clock my time, so about 45 more minutes. Just a quick note, when you were saying the thing about you're a new DM and that you wanted to do some world building. So I actually run a couple of workshops on this at conferences and stuff like that. But the thing I want to suggest very quickly without slowing things down is to read. Because reading fantasy information, fantasy books, my particular love is J.R.R. Tolkien as an initial person, but there's a lot of other ones like that. Source books can be a good source of information and value. In fact, I'm running a published adventure, so I modify it fairly heavily, but a lot of the basics come from some things within the pages of the book Storm King's Thunder, which I'm using here. So there's a lot of different places to do it, but gathering information allows you then to see patterns that you can then use in building your world, and those patterns are things that can help in terms of creating everything from tavern owners to seedy, thief, gnome, shopkeepers to mysterious dwarves that walk out of inns for no apparent reason to universities and libraries like the Houses of Knowledge and stuff like that. So it's really just a matter of picking up patterns, and the way to do that, at least initially, is to read source books, yes, but also just regular fantasy works. And for the world building stuff, I would recommend, I mentioned Tolkien before, but there's actually a world building manual, which is called... Oh god, I don't know what it is. I'll find the name and try to put it in chat by the end. But anyway, that does world building stuff specifically. And you can always talk to us more off stream as well. So thank you all for being here. Right. So, okay. The next day then dawns, the next morning dawns, since you guys have given up on this. Greta, have you said everything you needed to say about the Ring of Winter? Or... Okay.
Yeah, I think. And
So-
we're all still there in the morning.
Yes, you're all still
Right,
there.
Celsic? Right, Celsic? Celsic?
Can I cast a spell? I'm just hiding under the bed.
So yes, they're all still there. The axe is still, Urash has still got it sort of lovingly cradled in his arms, as he sleeps. The cold blade of the axe underneath his cheek. And as you all wake up in the morning, early in the morning, it's you begin to see this. You sort of hear the sounds of people starting to gather again as the festival proceeds on to its next day. Although you can depart before that happens if you want. Are you going to? I assume, but correct me if I'm wrong, that you're going to be using teleportation circle magic for this, or are you going to hoof it? If you're going to walk it, you'd have to, or like walk it, but take horses, you'd have to get going like immediately, and you wouldn't be able to stop for long. So just letting you know.
No, I thought we'd be using teleportation.
Okay.
Makes sense. Because time's probably getting tight for the ball now.
Fast travel.
I think we still have like 4 days, 3 days,
Fast
4
travel.
days, something.
3 days now. Before.
So
Yep.
maybe we can check on the pony for a moment.
Sure.
The
I was
pony's
waiting
fine.
for the pony to come back up.
Okay, if you don't want to, we don't have to.
No, we need to check on the pony.
Your
Because the pony is future barbecue, and we need to make sure it's okay.
Wow.
I'm never going to buy a dress with you again.
Oh.
I like your
I,
pony.
like,
Can I
hold my
name
dress
him
box.
two directions?
Take like 5 heart damage. Okay. So yes, the pony, which has been kept in the stables, is actually has been taken care of very well to this point. Seems very
Which
happy.
Stables.
Yeah.
No, we had to leave the pony behind when we used the teleport.
Yeah, we left it there with.
Oh,
the
that's right. I
dragon.
forgot about that. Yeah, sorry. I kept
Oh,
thinking that you
yeah.
might have
Somebody
brought him
took
with
my
you.
pony and put it in
I
the
thought you were
stable.
gonna. I forgot about that. I'm sorry. So you're going to teleport. Okay, so you're going to teleport back out to the, to the where the hill giant was. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot about the fact that you had to leave the pony behind. Okay. So, when you head back to the Neverwinter Circle, you walk in and find yourself confronted again by Sandus Thunderquill, who, as you sort of, you have your harper, information and all that, and so she kind of lets you go. Although she seems very flustered that you come back. She kind of was hoping, apparently, that you would not be returning.
I will tell her about Diego Maradona. So
Okay.
that she maybe tries to be a little bit more alert.
Yeah, she sort of says, "Oh yes, I'll watch for him. Don't fear. No one with the name of Diego Maradona will ever pass these doors. I know Ramirez Megablana, and let me tell you, that person will not get past here at any time."
Doom.
Good luck.
I love whenever someone from Genli, who's from Brazil, Genli's just like, wait, Diego Maradona? What? Like anytime anyone has like they're like, you mean the soccer player? No, but I wanted people to think about that. Anyway, so you teleport back to the circle where the hill giant had been. When you come out of it, because you may remember that you're sort of down below in this room, you have to actually take like basically a rope, you have to climb out. You can see you do not actually find your pony. Your pony is not tied where you left him.
We didn't tie him.
Well, then
You
he's
don't
definitely
remember-
not there.
You don't remember my pony at all.
I remember your pony, but I don't remember that you tied him.
The pony despawned and left the area.
No,
So insulted that you forgot about the pony.
you need to remember that this is the third different pony that I have. Like,
I only forget about like small things like the Ring of Winter.
yeah, exactly, but not my pony. Well, okay, I see you. If you do not have him tied up, so he is not there. And as you kind of look about, I mean, you'd have to go a little farther out if you want to. Do you want to look out farther?
It should be like around the tower somewhere, so I don't want to like go on a big walk. Just it should be here.
Okay. Yeah, but the dragon is looking a little fuller. Yeah, exactly. How are you doing? Oh, good to see you, my friends. Nothing at all. No.
They're like hooves on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. You go, in which he's made a word "help me," like he's hoofed out somehow. No, you go up over the hill a little bit farther away from the tower, and you actually can see your horses grazing in grass below on the other side of the hill.
Okay, wonderful. Then we can move on to Waterdeep.
Okay.
What about Sparkles? What was his name?
Talismana.
Yeah, Kalismana. I called him Sparkles.
You do not see Kalismana.
Okay. Well, at least we know you didn't eat the horse.
Wait,
so.
didn't he say that he was going to start using this tower to perch on?
That he's gonna what?
That he was going to start using this tower to perch on.
Yeah.
Yes, but he's not there.
Okay.
What?
The tower, Talismana, the red dragon, was he
Yes.
was red, wasn't he?
Not red. The
Copper?
bronze, I believe.
Bronze. There we go.
If it was
Yeah,
red,
metallic.
you'd have a problem.
Metallic, not chromatic.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Good dragon, not bad dragon. Yeah, he said he was going to start using this tower to perch on ice, but I would have expected him to be here. Perch, sit.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get it now.
Yeah, but he's not there at the moment.
Okay.
Well,
Should we be worried about that?
he's a dragon. I hope he can take care of himself.
Just assume he's dead.
He's a dragon. Of course he can take
I mean, I
care
was
of
gonna say, I'll
himself.
just assume that he's dead. Because
I mean,
he's not
look,
here.
if something was here and killed the dragon, I'm pretty sure the ponies would not have survived either. So, it's,
What if it doesn't like ponies?
I
who does
think
not
we
like ponies?
I don't know. Kobolds? I don't know. They just look at my feet. I don't know.
We could leave him a message if you want to, like, we've been here, you were out.
If he's been killed, do we
Shot
really want to tell
sign.
something that can kill a dragon when we've gone?
No, we're good. I'm good. I'm good.
No, we're good.
Okay, then we move on to Waterdeep.
Okay. So when you get into this, you've got these different circles. And as you're using this one, now remember, some of the circles are grayed out, essentially like dimmed, if you will. And then there are some circles which are available to you. One of them obviously is Neverwinter. You've got this one that's glowing, and then the Waterdeep. And those are the three main ones that were glowing here. There's a couple of others too, but those are not active as of yet, and presumably it's because you actually have to go there personally to sort of establish contact, basically. So as you go into this, you feel that strange effect of kind of feeling as if you've walked into like a wall of water where all the sound disappears for a minute. And then this feeling of almost being stretched. And then when you come out on the other side, you are sort of, you have this, and you come out, and it is pitch dark inside, and it's also very stuffy here. So those of you with dark vision, which I think would be Celsi, Gorash, Greta, but not River. Does Dragonborn have? Okay, I didn't think so. So River, you're just like darkness.
I don't think I have.
Yeah.
No, Celsic, I don't think Celsic has either.
I take her hand.
Yeah, because I'm standing there like, guys!
I don't take Celsics.
Oh, is this Celtic not?
No, I'm not seeing anything about that. But I could cast my cantrip. Oh, what was it called again? The lights
Dancing
thing.
lights.
Like cantrip, you can do that if you like.
lights. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll do that as a reaction.
So you are inside what looks like a very large, raised stone room. Basically, it looks like there's 2 levels. You're at the first level, and it's sort of an odd construction because it's very wide at the bottom, and then there are these steps going up to what is an extremely narrow space up at the top. Basically, like the stairs go forward and then double back on themselves and lead to this very small ledge, which you can't see from here. You'd actually have to go up the steps to see them. But you can see that there is some small room or something at the top that it enters. You were in a very large room, and all along the walls, up and down the walls of this place, as you shine your light around, Celsig, are skeletons. Skeletons, mummies, corpses, all around the room. In fact, there's probably a good 50 bodies in here, you would guess. And of course, on the floor are the teleportation circle that I mentioned.
Do they look arranged, or do they move?
They have not moved. They do look arranged. They have not moved yet.
We're in a mausoleum, aren't we?
Yeah, we'd been told that the
city,
water was in like a mausoleum or a tomb.
Yeah. Don't forget the code word, guys.
Wait,
We
what?
gotta.
Remember the code word, otherwise they'll kill us.
What's the code word?
It's fine, I got this, don't worry.
Sorry, Gretchen was supposed to handle that stuff.
It's fine. The code word's Myrna.
Now, do you say any of this?
Yeah, I'm literally saying that to them.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll just be like, because obviously, someone's like, oh, look, corpses, that's, weird. And we
Okay.
we have the conversation that we're in City Dead. And I say, well, yeah, also don't forget the code word is Myrna.
Okay.
Myrna.
I
Um,
did write it down.
So when you hear, when you say the word Myrna,
Myrna.
you hear this scraping, like basically the sound of stone scraping against stone. And it's from above you. You can't really see it, but it sounds like it's coming from right above that small room that I mentioned. And then you hear someone saying, oh my, how did that happen? Sounds very high voice, almost girlish.
Go towards the voice.
Okay, she's up the stairs, so you need to go up the stairs towards the room.
Okay. I'm happy to do that.
I walk
Who's the
behind
least
him.
threatening?
What? Say again.
Who looks the least threatening?
Me.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. And all the while, I'm blind, so I'm just like stumbling along, like,
No,
hello.
we've got lights.
no,
Lights. Lights
we have
now.
light. We have light
I
by
saw the
now.
light.
We have lights. Okay, cool. I was like,
They're all fancy.
Okay, sweet.
Okay,
I
so
follow Urash.
okay, so you climb up these stairs, and when you come to the other side, basically because it doubled back, as I said, when you get up to the top floor, you see someone sort of looks like a human girl, basically. She is very pale and rather thin, and the thing that you notice most of all, Urash, is that she has a wand that is pointed directly at your chest. And she says, I'm going to ask you to stop.
Okay. We're with the Harpers.
Haven't we done this once already?
And she says, "You're with the Harpers.
Well,
I was not
technically,
told anything about this."
We're on internship through Talismana, or
Who?
Namas.
Oh. And she says, "Nama sent you."
Yes.
And she says, she thinks about it, and she goes, "I would need some more information, I think. Where have you come from?"
Like originally or just now?
She says, "Well, just now, when you got here. Please
We
tell me
were
the
in-
deeper details of your life, beginning with your birthplace, and then..."
Well, I was born in a little town in Palestine, known as. So we were in Neverwinter, and then we went to. I cannot remember the name of that tower.
It was just called the Old Tower.
I keep wanting to say Zontal's Tower, but that's
yeah.
definitely not that tower.
No, it's the Old Tower, which is near Yartar. That's probably the one that you're thinking about.
Old Tower near Yartar. There we go.
In the region called Pony's End.
Ponies demise.
Pony's bonus conclusion.
I hope the ponies don't end.
So we were in Neverwinter, but before that we were in the old tower near Yartar. Yartar, thank you. Yartar, and now we're here.
And she says, "I see." And she says, and she kind of thinks about it, and then she says, "Well..."
We spoke to Sandus Thunderquill in Neverwinter as well, who actually weirdly had a very similar reaction to you. But we had a quick chat with her, and she seemed fine with us being temporary members of the Harpers.
And she says, "Oh, all right, well, I suppose it's all right since you actually know the code word, but you'd actually need to, you need to make sure that you speak it again a little bit louder for him." Now, as she says him, she points above herself with her wand, and you can see that there is light out of the top of what looks like, from here, a sarcophagus. It's almost like this sarcophagus is up there and wherever it is, this tomb, and then has this little room that leads to the staircase that leads down to the huge room that you guys are coming from. But she talks about this this thing, and I will show you.
So,
Holding the lid off of the sarcophagus is this creature that I'm showing on OBS right now. And it's sort of peering down into the shadows.
Oh, that looks safe.
Holding
he
this,
shiny?
Sort of Iron Man?
yes, sort
Is
of.
he shiny or is he like tarnished?
He looks more tarnished than anything else. But he actually has sort of, and in fact, you might be able to know. Let me see if any of you know what this is. River, you might make an Arcana check for me.
Arcana? Oh god, I probably won't know because I'm looking at like what that check will be.
Lovelust. It is a big boy. Yeah, that is not the official name.
I got a 1.
Oh god.
Wow. You're like, guys, that's a big. That right there is a big thing.
It's a big thing.
It's a big thing.
But it's shiny.
Yes.
Is that coming out of the esophagus?
Sarcophagus.
The sarcophagus. It's standing outside the sarcophagus, holding this lid.
lifting the lid up. What is that?
Why is it in a casket?
And she says, "That is the shield guardian. The Harpers placed it here to guard this place. Also, nothing else is strong enough to lift the lid. When the word is spoken, the shield guardian lifts it out of the way and waits for the person to exit. But it only caught it part of the way, so it opened it and now is looking down, probably because it's confused. I don't really know what a shield guardian does when it gets confused, but it might be, well,
Let's
a
not
little
find
dangerous."
out, eh? So I'll say louder, Myrna. To
And
Shield Guardian.
and it's sort of, it like inclines its head, and then it pulls the lid off the rest of the way and lowers it to the ground, apparently with relative ease, and then stands up next to the sarcophagus and waits. So you can see its top half like above the edge of the sarcophagus. If you can imagine, you're on the flight of stairs looking up, so you're looking up like through a skylight. Imagine that the sarcophagus is like a skylight, and so the opening, you can see the shield guardian, whatever this is, standing above the opening to the sarcophagus.
Oh,
looking
okay,
down
so
at you.
he's inside the sarcophagus.
He's outside of it holding the lid.
Outside lifting
Yes.
the lid off of it. Okay.
Remember, I mentioned that you were in a large room that leads up to this sarcophagus, and the sarcophagus apparently is inside whatever this place is.
Okay.
Right, okay.
So it's like there's a hidden entrance in a sarcophagus.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, can I ask the person who I presume is no longer pointing a wand at me?
Correct.
Okay. So, who are you?
She says, "My name is Thestral Malardin. I am a mage. I've been working on my training for some time, well, I've just been assigned to this space about a month or so ago, I suppose. It's not the most exciting thing to do, but it does provide me a chance for some solitude and give me a chance to think. Those are valuable things."
I agree.
You make a good point, Mr. Zeno. We're kind of out of the mausoleum now. You're quite right. Let me get rid of the city. We're out of the city. My bad.
Yeah.
Quite right.
Do you also work with the Harpers?
And she says, "Yes, the Harpers are the ones who assign all of us to guard and protect these teleportation circles."
Okay. Do you know? Quick question. Do you know why there would be obviously a well-armed wizard and a humongous metal shield guardian guarding the teleporter in Waterdeep, but the one in Neverwinter is just stuck in someone's attic?
She says, "Well, the truth is that we don't have much control over where the teleportation circles are. Sometimes it's what we actually find and what we can build around it, a house or a barn or a crypt or something like that. And it also depends on the architecture. Well, in Waterdeep, you're right now in the middle of the cemetery, the city of the dead. There are many, many thousands and thousands of crypts and sarcophagi and gravestones here, so it's a very normal thing for people to be visiting here and then leaving again. Whereas in a place like Neverwinter, I don't know, I've never been there, but I have to assume that Neverwinter is, well, it's easy to see something when it's out of place. So they place it in something like this attic. And originally it was another building of some kind, but then was built into something different."
Okay. Helpful. Thank you.
Do you have any food?
She says, "I'm afraid that I don't, but there is a lot of food that you can find around here. Waterdeep is well known for some of it."
I wanted food. I just look down at my feet again.
I am troubled.
Namos mentioned that when we came to places like this, given our affiliation with the Harpers, that you may be able to offer aid or supplies. Is that anything that you can help us with?
She says, "Well, I'm rather new and I don't know about extra supplies, but she says, let me think here." And she kind of taps her chin thoughtfully with her wand and she says,
Blows her head off.
Yeah, exactly. Chick, 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 ah! Like,
Fireball.
gun safety, first time, every time. She thinks about it for a while and she says, "I don't know anything." Thank you for all the follows, by the way, on GOG, folks, and a couple of my own channel. She says, "I don't have anything specific for you here, but I think I might be able to give you a recommendation of where to go." And she says, if you'd like, come up and I can show you a map of the city."
That sounds wonderful.
So she brings you up, it brings her, you all up into her small room, which is, even though it is a sarcophagus, it's still a fairly large one. And she's actually got what looks like a writing desk and a lantern of some kind, although from the way that it looks, it must have some kind of magic because it doesn't seem to be wavering as if it's going out or anything. And she's got a chair in front of it. And then there's this little ladder, which is sort of cut into the side of the sarcophagus. And on the desk, she has several scrolls and rolls of paper. And one of them she opens up, and I'm going to bring you and everybody else over to what you see. Right here. This is the walled city of Waterdeep. And she shows you where the city of the dead is, and you folks can see that this is actually over here to the eastern side. That's where the city of the dead is. And then she says, one of the great cities of the world, the city of splendors. And she points out several things of importance. Here we have Mount Waterdeep, and Mount Waterdeep is kind of this mountain over to the western side. It seems like more of a hill possibly than a mountain, but it definitely dominates this portion of the city. Then to the north, we have the Mercantile District. She shows you the market, which is in the middle here. We've got, as you look farther south, we've got these areas with smaller storefronts and, of course, the docks. And she goes through all of the details about those different things as well. And she says, but the question is, well, why are you here? Other than just serving the harpers, of course.
We need to go to the big ball.
I got a pretty dress.
And she says, oh, yes, I don't really get a chance to dance much.
Could I show her the invitation that I've got?
I was going to say, where does that say to actually go?
Yeah.
And she says, oh, and looks at the invitation. And the DM quickly goes to his notes to make sure that he remembers where that stuff is. Yes. We're talking about Lord Roaringhorn.
Indeed.
So she says, oh, Lord Roaringhorn. Yes, I've heard there's been a lot of excitement in the city about it. He's going to have a great, magnificent ball, and he's going to do so right in sign of one of the most dramatic places in the city, Heroes Walk. And she kind of highlights, and if you folks are looking at Roll20, you can see that I'm pinging it over there. Heroes Walk, she says, is this kind of park, essentially. And there is one person who has a very large tower, more or less. There's a mansion, obviously, and a house and everything, but there's also a tower on the property, which basically gives you a good view of the park. You can basically look right down on it, actually, from the top of the tower. And she says, the dance will take place at the top level of that tower, and all the most important people will be there. Oh, but it's very, very high security. There's lots and lots of guards. They've hired a number of wizards and mages as well. They even have a cleric or two standing by just in case anything gets really dangerous.
Interesting. Thank you.
They have pretty dresses?
We're
And she
gonna
says
need a
there will be
place-
lots and lots of pretty dresses. Yes. Sorry, what?
We're going to need a place to operate out of while we're here. Preferably a place with storage.
Good point.
And she says, oh, well, there's many places like that, of course. There's the residential districts and, well, there's the mercantile district. And then, well, there's the slums here. And she looks over to the east. And the northeast you can see as places like Black Dog Alley, the Troll Watch, Troll Skull Alley, Sewer Down Street. There's a number of these places that look like, Thunderstaff Way. These don't really look like the nicest places in the world. And she says, a lot of times when harpers come to the city, these are the places that they stay because, well, they're not as popular and therefore they don't have to worry about having their cover blown. You might want to think of doing something similar. Once you get to the west of the high road, things go up in cost and visibility very quickly.
Yes, if we're going to the ball, I think it might attract more attention if we stay in the slums.
Like with the gorgeous
People
dresses
from
and
the
stuff.
slums don't go to balls.
Sorry?
People from slums do not go to balls.
Mm-hmm.
True. We need someone kind of in the middle.
I look
Okay,
around here like,
super-
can
super
we stay
fascinating.
here? Is there any? I mean, this seems to be like a nice secret
Yeah.
place.
What about harpers who don't want to stay in like residential areas? Is there anywhere like that?
She says, well, and she thinks about it. I mean, there's a couple of famous ones. Of course, there's the one that has the large well that leads into the deep depths of Undermountain, and that, of course, is the Yawning Portal, probably the most famous inn within all of Waterdeep. The prices are reasonable, and the guards usually don't ask too many questions unless you go close to that well, of course. There's also the Dancing Cyclops Tavern and Inn. There's always a lot of fun to be had there, so I've been told, although, again, I don't get a chance to go out very much. And there's a number of other inns too. And she starts rattling off a bunch of them. There is in the Sea Ward, there's the Wyvern's Rest, there's the Pilgrim's Rest, there's the Wandering Wemmick, there is in the North Ward, there is the Misty Beard, the Grinning Lion, the Galloping Minotaur. In the Castle Ward, there's the Elfstone Tavern, there's the Pampered Traveler, the Jade Jug, and the Yawning Portal, and et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of things. There's a tavern called the Bowels of the Earth in the Trades Ward, and also that Dancing Cyclops Tavern that she mentioned as well. So there's lots of different ones. In case you're curious about the wards, by the way, there's the Sea Ward, the North Ward, the Castle Ward, the Trades Ward, the South Ward, and then the Dock Ward. Dock Ward is not the nicest place in Waterdeep. You've got, the Hanged Man, the Sleeping Snake. You can figure out for yourself what's likely to be down there. But there are some other places that are more or less upscale depending on where you look.
That well that you were talking about, where does it lead to?
The Undermountain, the Underdark, where, some of the servants of Lolth remain. A lot of the drow come from there, and other things. Umber hulks, sometimes nameless demons and creatures.
And they have that in a tavern?
And she says, well, yes, Waterdeep is, in a way, the portal, if you will, from that world to the overworld. Oh, there have been many great heroes that have walked through there. Why, some people say that Ryuvi Darkcrasher himself came through that portal. Oh, it was an amazing time. I wish I could have met him. He was a great sorcerer, I've been told.
So, just to get that picture right, people are sitting in that inn and just wait for something appear.
Oh, no. It's kept under careful guard, but it's accessible from the inn, of course.
What happens if you drop something through there?
She says, well, it's not a portal like you vanish or anything. It's really a door that leads to a hall that leads to the cave that leads to the Undermountain. So, I suppose if you drop something through it, it would just fall down the stairs, really.
It's not as scary as you made it sound in the beginning.
She says, well, if you were to go into the Undermountain, that would certainly be scary, I think. Greta and River, by the way, you both notice that it's hard to get a grip on a grasp on this person's age. I mean, she looks like a girl, like 13, 14, but some of the way she talks sounds like she's maybe more in her 20s, or maybe even older than that. It's sort of hard to get a sense of how old she is.
It's a human.
Yes, human.
All look alike.
Wow.
Whoa.
Hey, I'm half. Well, I think I'm half human. I'm definitely half orc.
And all badass.
Oh, you.
Yeah, pretty much,
Okay.
Uncle Daz.
Was that? I don't know. I mean, I guess I just lean into her real close and like, how old are you?
And she says, oh, well, does it matter?
Uh-huh.
And she kind of looks at you and she's like,
no one else could get away with that.
she kind of raises an eyebrow and she says, I'm old enough.
Okay, old enough for what?
Yeah.
And she says, to work here with the Harpers.
You
And to know
okay.
enough about the city and, well, to command the shield guardian up there.
Do you like to dance?
And she says, I guess I would if I had the chance to.
I look at all the other guys. Can you dance?
Are you asking them or her?
No, I'm asking all my complete party. Can any of you dance?
Fine,
I
Dan.
can spin.
Why?
I start spinning.
Because we're going to.
You like slap into everyone with your tail because there's not a real lot of room. Like, ow.
Ouch! River, because we're going to a ball, and I just realized that maybe nobody of us can dance, which
It's
might.
not the most important thing at a ball.
What?
I swear, none of you are thinking balls, are you? It's a place where you go to see and be seen. What you do there is not as important as whether or not you are there.
I'm pretty sure if you go
I
to a
have
ball,
been
you
in places where bulls have occurred.
so you wouldn't say there's
That
like
came
a
out
connect.
Both
You-
of you do.
So you wouldn't say there's a connection between
do
balls
the
and
other stuff.
dancing.
It's almost optional, really.
Can I spin?
You can eat.
What could I spin?
You could eat and spin. Although that might get frowned upon.
I was gonna say.
I thought she could maybe teach us to dance at least a little bit.
What,
Um,
in
In
here?
case,
She says, oh, well, I'm not really a, and she says, then her eyes light up. She says, wait, no, I know, yes. Oh, and this person is perfect for this. His name is Master Stevenson. If you find him, he's the best dance teacher in all of Waterdeep, maybe all of the Sword Coast. He taught me a little bit on how to dance when I was younger, and he was wonderful. He's very kind, and he's sometimes a little thorough, but he's very good at teaching the moves that you would need. You would certainly pass as being able to be part of it if you went to him. He actually lives over here, and she points to the he lives over in the North Ward, which, as I then go back to my map, right about here, and she points out this area, if you can see the pinging right there. So it's actually not that far from the Hero's Walk, which is where the, that park area near which the actual ball is going to take place. And
does he have guest rooms?
and she says, oh, I don't know about that. It's been some years since I've seen him, but dear old Master Stevenson, he was very good a teacher at teaching all of the different kinds of dance steps too. He knew all the latest ones. He always used to say that I reminded him of his daughter. His wife and daughter passed away in a terrible accident. He's a widower, very sad. He used to dance with his wife and children, he said, and he liked to keep their memories alive by teaching it.
Okay. That's a lot of information.
And
So
she smiles. I try.
So rewind real quick, Destral, for me. So you command that golem?
And she says, oh, Ironside's up there? Yeah, I do. And Ironsides has continued to stare down. Ironsides is enormous, incidentally, if I haven't made that clear. Like, Ironsides is probably 9 feet tall, and is just, and has literally and is sort of standing by the side of the sarcophagus, just staring down. Obviously, you can't see his face, just see the mask impassively.
okay.
Yeah, Ironsides. Do you control Ironsides? Is Ironsides yours, or
She
were
says,
you in-
oh, he's not mine, but I do control them. And she puts her hand up and touches what looks like an amulet that's around her neck. And she says, this is the control amulet. As long as I have this, he'll respond. When someone says the name that you just did, he'll remove the sarcophagus lid. And if I say it again, Myrna Ironsides, and he immediately drops his arms and picks up. Now, your guess, Urash, having lifted some heavy things in your time, is that this thing is maybe half a ton. I mean, this thing is huge. This sarcophagus lid, even though the sarcophagus is not that big compared to the room you were in, it's still, as I said, a big sarcophagus. And so he puts this big stone thing and just sets it on. And the room is in darkness again, except, of course, for the light coming from the lantern on her desk. And she says, and fortunately, he can hear really well. Otherwise, we might all be trapped here. Myrna! And then you hear him, the lid again is lifted off and slid to the right. She says, it makes it very difficult for anyone to get through here when they don't know the code word. Ironsides doesn't like bad guys very much, bad types very much.
Okay, thank you.
How much does he eat?
Oh, he doesn't eat. He doesn't sleep either.
How could he live?
She says, he doesn't need to eat. All the people have told me that he's just a construct, but I like to think that he cares about me a little bit. I mean, we've been together for, well, over a month anyway, and I feel like I know him a little bit. he's quiet, but he likes to watch me dance sometimes. Sometimes I ask him to just lift up the lid, and he just stares as I spin around down here. I don't know, he never says anything, but I guess he wouldn't, would he? Well, you must think I'm silly, but, well, sometimes it gets a little lonely.
I say rather matter-of-factly, if he doesn't care about food, he doesn't care about anything.
And she says, oh, no, you're wrong. He cares about certainly dancing, and so should you. You know, if Lord Roaringhorn sees that you're a good dancer, well, he's likely to be very kind to you. Lord Roaringhorn puts a lot of attention into his balls, makes a lot of attention and effort into them. He wants people to look as if they belong there, I suppose. It's very important to him that things stay in a certain kind of order. Order is very important to him.
Okay. I
So
just
he
nod
likes
like I
his
sort of know what you're
orderly.
talking about, but yeah.
What's that?
Don't forget, he puts great attention to his balls.
He has to make sure
No.
they're all in order.
There's half an hour on 2018.
She nods.
His balls need a certain structure to them.
Certain order to his
Are they
balls.
tidy? Are the balls tidy?
Yeah, they're comfortable affairs that are really.
And we're supposed to just slip into one of his balls?
No!
You know.
No, Saber, you need an invitation, damage.
Yeah, exactly. I don't
Would
think you
let
have the testicular fortitude for this, frankly, sir. And I.
You wouldn't just let any Tom, Dick, or Harry slip into one of your balls, would you? You'd let them violent first. Very select clientele.
Let it be known out of character right now that I worked on a lewd emote specifically during this stream because of all the lewd jokes we've been making about balls.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. We're just dealing with a dance. It's a big,
Yeah, we're talking
it's a
about
big
it.
dance.
Yeah, the party.
You can dance if you want to. You can leave your balls behind.
I thought you liked my discrotumtion, but I guess maybe not. I'm not sure what to say. So.
And I think we're done.
So
I
she.
I think we're done for today.
Yeah, she says, all right, well, if you want, you might want to head and go see him right now, Lord Stevenson. Master Stevenson, I mean. He should be in his home, I believe.
Okay, we will go and do that. Thank you.
So you sort of climb up out of the ladder. Ironsides just sort of stares down as you pass by, kind of not paying a lot of attention to you, apparently just sort of looking down. And then as you pass, you hear her say, "Good luck," and she says the word Myrna again, and Ironsides closes up the lid. And now that you're inside here, you can actually see that you are inside this walled cemetery that again was this city for the dead, and there's sort of a building that you're inside, but there's light kind of coming in from the outside, and as you come outside of it, you can actually see some of the light coming from outside. As you leave the walled cemetery to make your way to the Master Stevenson's house, there's a moment where as you're walking down the road, you can see, you don't see, but as you're walking down the road sort of looking at each other, there's a moment where you are looking back at the building from where you emerged. You see the head of Ironsides just peek down and stare out at you walking down the street for a very long time, and then impassively pulls itself back up again out of the way. And that, I think, is where we're going to close up the session for the evening. And no, isn't Diego Maradona dead? No, he's not. He's not. I mean, at least you know if he is, but presumably he's not. All right, folks. So we have gotten you to Waterdeep at long last. And we'll be dealing with dance lessons and fancy balls coming up very soon on Friday. But this was a great time, guys. I hope you had fun. It was fun to see. I like Greta and Rivers' dress shopping expedition. That was enjoyable to see. I was enjoying watching Celsig navigate through Arana, and I actually liked all of you talking about how to deal with Urash, the confused /berserk orc, and how Celsic could use his pixie dust as a matter of it. That was fun times.
It's not gonna end well.
It'll be
Not gonna end
fine.
well.
I'm going to use that pixie dust at some point.
That's
This
gonna
is-
happen. No, I know, right? At some time, it's
Oh,
going to get
I
used for
know
sure.
from a party member, feel it coming.
Exactly right, but it was good stuff. I will start as I usually do, down at the bottom of the column, but not the bottom of our hearts, and that of course is Tasty Chai. Chai, thank you. We got a chance to do some dress shopping, so I'm looking forward to seeing your dancing, spinning operations next time. Where can the fine people see you next?
Oh my gosh, if I have to do like an athletic role or anything like that for
Acrobatics, clearly.
dancing, it's gonna be bad. But
Yeah.
I will be streaming on my own channel in probably about 20-ish minutes after I take a quick break to get dinner. And we'll be playing Pillars of Eternity, and I might be streaming all night long, maybe. Otherwise, over here on GOG, I usually stream once a week, and I will be here on Sunday, and I don't know what I'm playing yet. I haven't decided.
Very nice. As always, a pleasure. And you guys should definitely check out, check out Tasty Chai's stream. Although you should also stick around for Lovelust, who's going to be bringing you the release stream of Wizard of Legend very, very soon. But thank you, Chai. Good stuff today. And of course, you will see Chai as well on this campaign next week. You'll see her a week from Friday, when she'll be over on my channel continuing this session with ArvCon. Subtext, the dancing lesson session. Or subtext, how to get ready for balls. And moving right above there, it was a softball. I couldn't dig. In more ways than one. Moving right along, we have, of course, Mike, Screaming Joypad. Fun times from Urash today. We got a chance to see more details about Urash and his axe as he joins together with his family. As his family's like, no, we're not going to kick you out. So it was good to see that. And Mike, where will the fine people?
Man, the feels.
I know, the
the
feels. Where will the fine people see you next?
Probably on your channel a week on Friday when we have ArvCon Prepare to Ball edition. Other than that, it's going to be on your channel on ArvCon for probably the final stream of the Rise of Tiamat campaign, where I'm playing TikTok, a Warforged fighter.
Yes, good times. I'm looking forward to both of those. Good luck with everything on the, as you said, the moving house side. But you know, I know that's gonna. What joy! But this too shall pass. Remember, as the Stoic said.
Indeed.
Always a pleasure to have Mike with us, and yes, we will definitely see you in both of those things. Moving right on up the way, Saber. It was good times. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Oh, it was great. It was good times all the way along. And where will the fine people see you next?
Well, I'll be back here on GOG tomorrow, this time slot on Wednesdays, and I'm carrying on my playthrough of the Sam and Max series. From, I think, still episode 2 of the Devil's Playhouse, if I remember rightly, which is excellent. And you can always catch me over on my channel, which is twitch.tv/darksaber2k, where I'm currently hideously addicted to Crusader Kings 2 again.
One more time.
Well, yeah. That was another 60, 70 hours.
That's awesome. I am looking forward to checking out more of that as time goes on. It was a pleasure. And of course, I will see you on my channel next week on Friday for the ArvCon. Thank you, sir. And last but certainly not least, of course, is Pyron Jade. It was fun as always to see Pyron as the voice of reason / the concern for the pony. That was pretty funny. Like, that Ring of Winter doesn't matter, but the pony! That was the thing that mattered. Where will the fine people see you next, Pyron?
Next week on your channel for ArvCon. I'm currently not streaming on GOG.com because we are renovating and moving house, so I'm pretty busy in real life, also with the kids and everything. But I hope to get a stream in June because of special games coming up that I'm very excited for. And so you can sometimes find me in chat on the GOG.com channel and sometimes on Darksaber's channel. And so, if you see there, if you want to chat, do so.
Awesome times. It was always a pleasure. Really enjoyed this party, and I'm looking forward to Friday, where the dance, the learning, and the ball itself, the great dance will happen. I'm looking forward to it. But thanks to Pyron, to Darksaber, to Mike Screaming Joypad, and to Tasty Chai. Thanks everybody. Chat, can we get some love for the players? And folks, I will see you next week on Friday. Thank you all. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Alrighty. Okay. So that is going to do it for today. That was awesome. Really been enjoying this campaign. In particular, I really like the chemistry with the players, but also I've really been enjoying watching them kind of develop their own personalities within the world and their own characters with it. It's got its own feel to it, and I like it. It's got sort of a lighter-hearted feel to it that I enjoy. So it was good times. And you will see more of this time as well. Remind Darksaber and I should grab low latency. Low latency is awesome, dude. I'm telling you, low latency is where it's at. You should definitely do it if you possibly can. That's going to do it for me, though. I've got to give way for to Lovelust, who is going to be playing again the new. Okay, sounds good, Genly. Who's going to be bringing you the release stream of Wizard of Legend. So I've got to get on out of here so she can do that. All that sounds good. Wizard of Legend, like what is not to like? So I'm going to head over and do that. I will not be back on my channel this weekend because I'm going to my wife's 20th college reunion. I may do a bonus stream somewhere in between now and then. I don't know, but it's going to be very ad hoc. Otherwise, I'll be back next Tuesday on my stream with a special Masters of the Dungeon show on my channel. If you're interested in checking out about dungeon mastering, I and two other very experienced dungeon masters talk about D&D and about setting things up and all that stuff. So we're going to be doing that next week. And then I'll be right back here on this channel with Pen and Pixels at 4 p.m. Eastern playing Battletech as I continue that playthrough. And then that evening back on my channel, I will have a voiceover stream with the R vocalists, who are my awesome voiceover crew. And so you should check those people out because they are great. And then the following weekend, ArvCon. And again, if you possibly can, stopping by the channel and definitely supporting these folks on Friday, which is Friday the 25th. But even beyond that, we're going to have events all weekend. So all of it to benefit the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation. So all of that would be much appreciated. Now I want you to stick around, and I want you to hang out for the next person up, who's going to be Loveless Games and who's going to be playing that release stream of Wizard of Legend. So we're going to check that out. Thanks to everyone who was in here. You guys are great. And I will see all of you wonderful people next week on this channel or on my channel before that. But until then, thanks everybody. Everyone be good to each other, and I will see you all soon. Have a good day.
Searching though I don't know.